The Z to Z Podcast.
Good morning, good evening, or good day, and welcome to the Z to Z Podcast, the home for Xbox achievement hunters and Gamerscore junkies. I'm your host, Brandon Freeman. Thank you so much for listening. At Z to Z, we love gaming, and in particular, grabbing achievements and gaining Gamerscore. We do news, reviews, and interviews. If it's not achievements, we'll unlock it. You can find show notes for this show, as well as previous shows, on our website, z2z.com. This is episode 107. You can also contact us with questions or comments on Twitter, at Z2ZZEDTOZED, over at our forums, forum.z2z.com, or email us directly, contact@z2z.com. So it's the end of 2017 when we record this, and the show launches at the beginning of 2018, and so that's what this show is about. It's about closing out the last year, opening up the new year, goals, New Year's resolutions, things we're excited for, and to do that, to help me with that, we have Proulx with us, although he's not 100% tonight. Proulx, what's going on?
I'm 100% in attitude, at least.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good.
I have a bit of the Christmas sniffles, which is not very fun and a terrible gift, so please don't get them to anyone. But it's not too bad, and I'm hoping it doesn't get worse, but I think, and I think I'll be able to make it through the show, no problem.
Tough through like a champ. That's what I like to hear. And to help us out, we also have Matrarch with us. Michelle, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well tonight, thank you.
Wonderful. It's great to have you here. It's, I totally get the cold thing. It is remarkably freezing right now. The cold snap came through. And actually, I was looking at like New York for the Times Square for the ball drop. That is supposed to be like one of the coldest in 20 years. Like that, I don't know what kind of idiots go outside during that. That's just crazy.
Yeah, I honestly don't know what kind of people go out even during like nice years. It's packed and it's really intense down there. And if you want to get there to have a nice spot, you have to be there like 12 hours before. And don't you dare leave for a bathroom. It's just a whole thing onto itself.
I've been telling everybody that I've become really accustomed to celebrating the Nova Scotian New Year, just to get it out of the way so I can get on to video gaming and everyone can go to bed. And but it was Christmas and we were looking at the up here in Minnesota. It is particularly cold, and so I've seen this through Facebook and all these people up here where they did a side by side comparison between Minneapolis, which was a -2, and Antarctica, which was 8.
Oh.
And so we were colder than the South Pole for an extended period of time, which, I mean, that's stupid. Like, come on. It's like penguins live there, and we put up shop here. Like, that's just dumb.
You're going to start seeing polar bears walking up to your deck.
Right? Trying to get in my house because it's at least warmer than outside.
Well, I heard the fact that it's so cold right now. I read this on Twitter. I can't remember specifically who said it, but I heard that because it's so cold, for this brief 2-week period, that obviously global warming isn't real. So you can take that to the bank.
Well, that's handy.
Yeah.
That's absolutely handy. So I want to talk. So we got a bunch of stuff to get to today. I'm excited about this. We have a few things from the last show, episode 106. I hope you guys all had a great holiday, by the way, since we're recording now after Christmas. Did you guys have a good Christmas? You get everything you wanted? Proulx, everything, your quote unquote tiny family Christmas?
Yeah, no, I had a good Christmas. It was a lot of fun. It was me and my girlfriend, and Proulx was there. We got him some chewable bones, and he's very happy with that.
Daisy or Lord Bennington III or whatever his name is.
Daisy? Come on now.
Well, I already called your dog Daisy already, so like...
Barkimedes is my dog's name.
That's what it is. Yeah. Not Lord Bennington, Barkington.
No. Although, you know what? If we ever get a second dog, I might put that in the ring. She got a little stocking as well. It was a nice little...
Isn't it fun to get your dog's Christmas stuff?
Oh, it was a lot of fun, yeah. It was a good little stress-free Christmas because there was no traveling or anything like that. Yeah. I had a great time. I think I'll probably try to do that again if I can.
Yeah, we got my dog a new dog bed. And so and one side it says nice, and the other side it says naughty, and it has almost exclusively been on the naughty side. And he loves it. It's great. But we also got him, and so this is what has been not so easy with this little break here, is for his birthday. His birthday happens to be December 22nd, and so he just turned 11, and we decided for his birthday we were going to get him the gift of eyesight. And so he had surgery to repair 2 cataract. And so anyway, surgery went fine. I think I mentioned that last show, but nobody got any sleep, and he didn't come out of it well. And so now we're I'm still a week out of his recovery, but we went to the doctor and he said, hey, so here's the thing, everything looks great. Pressures are good. Clarity's good. Everything looks great, except this, his right eye, the suture came untied. And so, technically it's still sealed shut, but if there's any trauma, that's going to reopen the eye and there's going to be problems. And that's emergency surgery. And I'm like, are you kidding me? So now we opted not to go back because he did so poorly with the anesthesia before. We're we're not going to go back and redo an elective surgery. I'm just going to throw $300 at this thing to try and we're just going to hope for the best. But since we got that news on Wednesday, it is like having a newborn. We are constantly having to hold him and keep him from, because he has the cone on, but he's learned that he can run into people's legs and push the cone back and then just start rubbing his face on your jeans or on the side of a couch or something.
That's
just
awesome.
to get itching that eye. And it's God, you're going to cost me so much more money. Stop it. I wish you knew. So we have now, granted, it's been relaxing because literally we just stay at home and do nothing, but it's also been incredibly stressful because you're doing everything one-handed because I'm constantly holding my dog because I can't trust him to be on the ground running around. Em, what was your Christmas like? Do you have a good holiday?
I had a great holiday. It was same as Proulx, just very low key, couple close family members. My family doesn't typically know what to get me for the holidays because I'm fortunate enough that if I want to grab something, I'm usually just able to do that on my own. So they pulled together and they got me a gaming chair, which is awesome. Woo-hoo. But it's not they got me a gaming chair 4 or 5 years ago, and this was a gaming chair. It's one of those bucket seats with
sure.
You're supposed to plug in the audio, which I never did because I don't like wires everywhere. But
right.
It's nice. This is an office chair that has a pillow attachment. So I guess when you get tired after 8 hours of boosting or something, you could just catch a little nap and then wake up and start over.
That's fabulous.
Yeah, it is, and it's awesome, and it's blue, which matches everything else in my gaming space. So
that's super.
That was
fun.
awesome. Yeah.
So better than sitting on the couch.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Better than I have to share couches. I don't have to share my gaming chair.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, absolutely. I got my 4K TV.
Very nice.
Man, yeah. So everybody pulled together. They did one of those. Because I put these just crazy things on my list, knowing I wasn't getting anything. Because it's I'd really like an Xbox One X, and I could use a 4K TV, and I really need a new laptop, and I really, and so everything's $600 or more. I'm well, this is stupid. You're not going to get any of that crap. So I put other things on there too, and so I assumed I wasn't getting anything. My wife kept throwing red herrings and saying why do you need a new TV? This one's perfectly fine. I'm it's If you give me the option of driving a sports car or driving a Toyota Camry, I want the sports car. But it's not practical. I get that. But it looks so nice and it handles so well and all that. And so I was convinced I wasn't getting anything. And so anyway, I do one of those multiple boxes opening, where I open the first one and it's oh, okay, empty. Oh, there's another smaller box inside. Oh, it's in here. It's nice and heavy. I wonder what it is. I open that one and it's my dad put some ceiling caulk in there for weight, but I was oh, is it stuff because we're gonna finish our basement this summer? I was oh, stuff to finish my basement. My dad's no, that's not for you. That's just for weight. You don't get that. I'm oh, okay. So then there's a smaller box. I opened that one, and I had asked for a new phone, and so I opened it. I'm oh, a new phone, cool. But it's an iPhone box, and my wife knows I hate iPhones, and so I'm hey, great, iPhone. Wait a minute. This isn't right. And so I opened that, and then inside was the picture, and then my brother and sister went and got the big 49-inch TV, and so we got it hung in my house now, And man, oh my God, it is so good. And I'm sitting there talking about it. So my kids immediately fire up like their cartoons and stuff. And they're like, oh, this is great. Look at this. I'm like, wife, you got to look at this. Look at how crisp the pictures are. There's no screen tearing. The refresh rate is amazing. The colors just pop. Look at this. The darks are so much darker. And we watched the BFG, right? And they got all these nice. Bright popping colors, but there's also these darks and the great contrast. I'm like, don't you see this? Look how amazing this is. And she's like, I don't see it. So she asked me the next day and she said, well, have you played any video games on it? I said, well, I did, but I played Wolf Among Us. And, that's not, so I'm not really taking full advantage of the graphical, but I will tell you, the thumbnails in my games and apps section look crisp as hell.
Yeah.
They are just beautiful.
I believe it.
So anyway, that's been a lot of fun. Anyway, we should talk about what we've been doing because I've had the week off. And so I went and I did Wolf Among Us because I'm still working on my Christmas challenge. I finished 11 today. And through Wolf Among Us for most of it, a little bit of Battle Chasers Night War. Kind of a classic RPG, JRPG from the makers of from the artists from Darksiders. They was a Kickstarter that I ended up getting. Came out in October. Boy, that's a lot of fun. Really in depth. I only scratched the surface of it, so I'm not going to go too deep into it until I really get my hands dirty on that one. But Wolf Among Us did most of that stuff, and so I finally finished the story-based things, and I went to start my 12, right? The mini leapfrog. So I needed 2 story ones left. And I was looking, I'm like, okay, I might as well, I'm running out of time in the month, so I better hit the gamertag challenge. And so I'm missing a few letters. I'm missing some numbers, I'm missing a U, and I'm missing an I. So what can I do here? So I was like, I'll start up Unravel. That'll be a quick story-based one. I'll play the first level. Great. And I need one more story, and I happen to see Inactive Soccer 2X. And so I was like, okay, there is one story mode achievement in that, and that's to play, start a career. Easy enough. Okay, did that one. So I'm like, oh, you know what? This would be a great starting off point then for my 12, right? Because I can go do the first achievement people usually get by playing a friendly match. And so I do that one, and I hit go, start my thing, and I played the first match, and so I unlock Kickoff, which is a 1.0 ratio, but I also didn't foul anybody, and so I unlocked Fair Play, and I unlocked Hat Trick, because my guy ended up scoring 3 goals. And so it said, okay, your first achievement for this one is the Hat Trick, so we're going to start you at 1.08, and I'm like, a guy started with a 1.0. Like, come on. Now, granted, 1.08 is not ridiculous, but so then I started kicking around. I'm like, well, so I ended up doing, as for my numbers, I started Halo 5, and you could just change your emblem, and that's a 1.08. And now I'm looking at it, and it's got to start up Saints Row 4, which I didn't think I was going to do, but now I have to do that between now and the end of the year, so I can get that. I can buy an upgrade and link up that community thing and make sure I get that out of the way. So I need to do that tonight after the show. That's the plan. The win of the week, though, and this is one thing that I actually did right after we recorded the show last Friday, is they had a brand new title update for Happy Wars. And I haven't played this game in ages. I was shocked they're still supporting it, to be honest. But all of a sudden, a new, 8, 10, 16 achievements. I don't even know how many achievements came out for it. But I was like, oh, boy, I should take a look and see. Because some of these, if it's like Gears of War, might backspring and, unlock just by simply playing a match. And sure did. Now, I only got 4. I only got 4 pieces for the easier ones there. But, man, you add all these things up, and it was 50 Gamerscore. But it was 700 TA because I unlocked them so early. I mean, we're talking 10+ ratios on everything right now because I guarantee everybody forgot about this game. It is still not great. It is still very much a pay-to-win type game, but there's some easy achievements out there. So if you're interested in quick boosts to your gamer score, that'd be the place to do it. The only final thing I want to mention before I kick it over to somebody else is in Plants vs. Zombies, Garden Warfare on the 360. We're dangerously close to finishing this thing. I finished the last two, solo character things, like, where you have a chomper, you got to take 10 zombies down in a session, or the pea shooter with 10 Gatlins. Finish those. So all I have left is the killing plants, the 100 of each plant. All I have left is that, and those stupid treasure yetis, and some vampire zombies. And that's it. And we get to move on to the one version where, oh my God, we get tracking. I cannot wait for that. It's going to be glorious. So that was my week. Even though I've had the entire week off, I really haven't gotten a lot of gaming in. But Em, what have you been doing this week?
Well, I had my week off last week, so this week's been a normal work week for me. So I mostly played a lot of Walking Dead Season 2, and because of the same reason you were playing Wolf Among Us for the Christmas challenge or the 12 Days of Christmas, I'm curious how many walking or Telltale game achievements have been popped because of this, because that's pretty much what I see everyone doing when they get to the 10 Gamerscore and the storyline based ones. But yeah, insofar as win of the week stuff, that for me, it's probably just completing the challenge. Like, I was really happy I finished it on Christmas.
Nice.
Got it out of the way. I got up to my my leapfrog day on Christmas Eve, started it that night, and I knew that evening I was going to be playing Halo with L. I was helping him with his random to-do list achievement to get all of the part-times in Halo 2 in Master Chief Collection. So I kind of had a window of that many hours to finish the first 11, because the first achievement we were getting was a 4.4 ratio. Yeah. And if I topped that anywhere in between, I was done. So, I got a couple in the evening, went to sleep, woke up in the morning, and I went to see a movie on Christmas Day. So I knew that was going to cut out a big chunk of my time, because by the time you get to the theater and see the show and come back home, and I got home, and then by the time I was sitting around doing nothing, I had like an hour before I was going to play with Elle, and I had 5 more achievements to go. So it was just sort of this like mad dash to figure out what achievements I could get before this 4.4 ratio one came along and ruined the whole thing for me. But I got it done, and we got his random to-do list achievement done. So that was just a great competition, or competition's not the right word for it.
Contest.
Event, whatever it may be. But it was awesome. Community event. There we go. That's the right phrase. But it was awesome start to finish, and I was really happy to actually get it done and see my community event badge tick up one more completed event next month or whenever that gets rolled through.
Right. It's been super fun. And so to that end, Planting and I have been working on next year's things that are coming up, and it's like I said, but in multiple shows previously, it's been so overwhelmingly positive. Like, so you expect to get more things like this in the future. The other thing that you also talked about, random to-do list, and we'll talk about this later in the show. But we got a new bot. ZZ Urban Spaceman put a new bot in place for our Discord chat. And so if you ever want to see this thing, it's over at discord.io/Z2Z. And it's going to pop and make a little announcement in the RTDL Discord channel whenever anybody unlocks something against their list. And so, like, this week, when we get new lists, this thing is going to go nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to just start firing like crazy. But it's fun to see, how active people are, and it'll be relatively real time. I mean, you can look at the forum as well, and that has a running list of things. But it's been super fun this last month doing the RTDL, man. It's been just crazy. Everybody's been really working hard, going for their full combos, and wonderful. Well, that's great. Anything else you've been up to this? Hey, I got a question for you, because you work at a library, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And so I was talking to my mother-in-law, and she's retiring soon. She has 2 work days left.
Oh, wow.
She's super excited about that. And so she's like, okay, what am I going to do now? Because her husband still has to work. And so she's trying to figure out, like, just ways to occupy her time. And so she joined a book club. And so this book club, there's multiple women of around her age. But she mentioned it was done through their library, and it's run by a library staff member who kind of coordinates the thing. Do you ever do something like that? Is that asked of you? Do you have something like that going on?
I don't myself. Other people certainly do. The previous branch I worked at, one of my coworkers ran a small but successful book club. At my current branch, we had tried one and it didn't work, so we asked for permission to go out to a local bar and do the book club there, because we figured, hey, if people, they can, they're not drinking on company property, so it's cool, right? And we got permission to do that, so that's something that sort of happened for a little while, but still didn't get a lot of traction. Book clubs really depend on where you are.
Sure.
So far as how successful they're going to be. But there's all sorts of stuff, and it's usually, you just sit and talk. A library staffer runs it. The really organized ones will come up with lists of questions, but for the most part, it's an excuse to eat cake and drink coffee with a couple people for, an hour on a Wednesday night or whatever it is.
That's kind of what I assumed it would be.
Yep, that's exactly it.
I've had a lot of drinks doing a lot of different activities, but something that's never popped into my mind is, why don't you have a few drinks and read a book? I imagine
you talk
about
you
discuss
it.
the book,
right. No, I understand. But that would just never be something that would come into my mind and be like, oh yeah, let's associate these two things. I mean, it makes sense, of course, because it's a social event. But I think that's a brilliant idea, and it's a shame it didn't work out for the group there. But that's awesome. I would definitely maybe sign up for one then. It was like, oh hey, here's some free wine or something while you're talking about whatever, Moby Dick or whatever.
Right, then you don't have to be worried about your unpopular opinions because it's the alcohol. So it's okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the cab talking. Yeah, I'm sorry. What movie did you end up seeing on Christmas?
Coco.
Oh yeah, the Book of Life ripoff.
Oh, I didn't see Book of Life, so I don't know.
I love the Book of Life.
I don't watch many movies. I pretty much go whenever there's a Pixar film released and whenever there's a Star Wars film released, and that's it. And I haven't seen the new Star Wars yet, for much of the same fatigue reasons you were talking about a couple weeks ago, Proulx.
Oh, yeah.
But I enjoyed it, but as someone who really enjoys Pixar movies, even I felt it was a little draggy in the middle third. But I loved the last third. But I think in order to really love it, you do have to turn your brain off and not think too critically and see the big plot twist that's coming. You just have to sit and enjoy the film. And I think if you do that, it's really, really great.
So I did see the new Star Wars this week. I watched it on Wednesday night with a buddy, and it's kind of the same thing. I avoided spoilers as much as I could, and I felt like I went into it pretty fresh. But there were some things that I had heard, and I had some expectation. I said, you know what? No, I'm just gonna just go into this. I'm gonna just come in and enjoy this, and not be critical. I'm gonna just give me what you got. And I liked it. I mean, I came out happy. I could totally see where people would be pissed. Mm-hmm. I could totally see where people say they loved it. The one thing I will say, and this is not related to the movie, is it was in the previews. And they showed another extended trailer for Marvel, The Avengers, Infinity War.
Yes.
That movie is got to be the most expensive movie ever made.
I cannot wait.
Oh, my God. There is so many people in that movie. Just the actor's budget has to just be astronomical. And then it's constantly set piece after set piece, CGI all over the place, stunts, everything's blowing up. I cannot fathom how much money that's going to cost.
There are no words to describe how excited I am, just like I was for both the other Avengers films. But of course, this one has kind of a special place, obviously. And remember, Fream, this is only part one as well. Well, it's not they're saying they're technically two different stories, but this third Avengers film will be spread across two movies. So, it's going to be pretty exciting. I can't wait. And I'm super excited. And this is a nerd's dream come true to see this. And by the way, I thought, just on the topic, I thought that Last Jedi was slightly better than Force Awakens, which I thought was super generic and kind of boring. So that's where I landed on that one.
I can see it, and I I don't know if we should have a Discord chat for it or not, because I don't know if I want to hear. But I do want to. I haven't even spent any time looking at spoilers because I have some questions, but they're not angry nerd at a computer questions. They're hey, can you just let me know what the prevailing thoughts are? I'm just curious.
You can ask me after the show if you want.
Stuff like that. Proulx, what have you been up to gaming wise?
A whole bunch of stuff. It didn't work out the way I wanted to. I was trying to get a completion a day, since I actually only had to work the day after Christmas, and then I had the rest of this week off. Well, I got sick, and of course life happens and other things happen. So it didn't happen. But I have been making a lot of progress in getting some games done and stuff like that. Well, I ranted about the ACA game during the What the L's segment last week. Mm-hmm. And basically what happened was I did all the things that I needed to do to get all the achievements, but the achievements didn't pop, and that was super frustrating. So I'm going into ACA hiatus again, probably for another 3 months, because this seems to happen with every single one of these games that I play. Like the achievements are super fiddly and glitchy, and they won't pop. Sometimes it's random. Sometimes it'll be like an hour later that they'll pop. Sometimes they won't pop at all. And I'll have to fiddle with the save file and reinstalling it and all that sort of stuff. Whatever. Right. I put it down. Whatever. I get 780 points out of it, and I'll never touch it again. Maybe if they... Oh, God. Hamster is the worst corporation of all time. It makes me so mad. Oh, God. You have one job, and it's one emulator. Just fix it, and all your games will be done. And it's... whatever. Anyways. And then, of course... So I'm going through these different games, playing to get through completions. I played Doodle God Blitz, which I had a few delayed achievement pops on that game. But after, if I reloaded the game, they came through. But I was already kind of at the breaking point with games at this point. Because I'm like, God, I'm trying to get these easy games done just to get some points when I have my time off here. And last night I loaded in one of the backyard baseball games. Mm-hmm. The only one I hadn't done yet. Right. Sandlot Sluggers. Oh, God, did I get mad at this game. This wasn't even related to the achievement popping thing. It was just I was terrible at it, and it's awful, and it's stupid. I was so mad at this stupid kid's baseball game. I almost threw my controller across the room. I finally figured it out. It's a weird difficulty curve where, like, as soon as you beat the first team, it makes the next game easier, and then the next team makes the next game easier. And so it's like a reverse difficulty curve. It's like the first game you play is the hardest. So
it sounds exactly like me in Nicktoons MLB. We were just like, why am I so dumb at this? Like, this is for children.
Well, then that game has the extra complication of having like a sort of random achievement, right? Where you have to collect all the baseball cards, and they don't come regularly, if I recall correctly. It's frustrating.
You have to, if you do everything in a correct order, it does. But like, I think what throws me off with that game, and maybe I'm trying to remember the backyard baseball if I had the same issues, but like, because it's using the whatever the MLB game, the show, the ticket, the whatever it was that they took, and they just put Nickelodeon skins on it. The hitboxes are all weird, right? Because it's like you'd have like a normal looking baseball guy, and it's like, let's just turn him into the Larry Lobster, and he's got ridiculous, whatever. Or let's make him a 2 foot tall, Invader Zim. Like, it'll be fine. Mm-hmm. And you're like, what the hell am I trying to hit here? Like, this is stupid.
Yeah,
anyway, sorry, Proulx.
No, it's okay. To me, it was really, it was a week of terrible expectations ruining the reality for me. Just these games that I thought were going to be an hour or two end up lasting a lot longer. And because I'd beaten the backyard sports games, and they were super easy. I had no problems at all. And here I am, like, restarting this match literally probably for the 10th or 12th time. And I'm like, what is wrong with me? I know I get baseball, and this is a kid's game, and like there's 3 buttons. Why am I not hitting them at the right time? I have no idea. Anyways, so I finally I didn't finish it, but I got the story mode done. That's where the difficulty was. I can do all the rest later. One completion that I got that completely met my expectations and went off without a hitch was Pac-Man Championship DX plus Ultra Special Awesome Mode game.
Yeah, and I don't think that's the exact name, but I get what you're saying.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's close.
So anyways, that's my win of the week, is because I've already beaten this game, I think, on 2 other platforms, but it was on sale for the countdown sale, so I bought it for $2. And I beat it in an hour. And I'm like, yes, finally. That's all I wanted. For this whole week, it's all I've wanted to do is to see a game, expect to get it done in a reasonable amount of time, and then be done with it. And that was the only game that cooperated this week for me, so that is my win of the week.
Awesome. Hey, you were talking about baseball, and I had a question here for you from Fufu Cuddly Poof. And he asks, Proulx, How many pins are there in 10-pin bowling?
I may have cheated on this one before I saw the question, so I kind of knew this was... No, of course, come on, Foof. I know there's 10 pins in bowling. I'm actually, not to brag, I'm pretty decent at bowling. I'd like to think at least. I've gotten a few turkeys in my time, if you know what I'm saying.
Whoa!
Yeah, no big thing, but it happens occasionally.
Wow.
What's your bowling style? Are you do you like to put the English on it, get a little spin going, or are you straight down the pipe? Or
I'm straight down. Yeah. I can't do the spin. I think I tried 2 or 3 times in the past and kind of twisted my thumbs. I'm not really sure how you do that without hurting your own fingers. But it didn't work for me. So, but I'm actually pretty decent with this.
I hear if you don't use house balls, that you are, when your fingers actually fit into those things. Because my style was always find the lightest ball that I could physically get my hand into.
Right.
And so that'd be like a 6 or an 8 pound ball. And I would throw that like a fast pitch softball. Do the windmill and just like barely touch the lane as it went down. Exactly. And then collateral damage was the thing. And so now that I'm stronger, though, like I've been able to actually get heavier balls and still maintain a decent speed because I need the momentum, right? As fast as you can go, the kinetic energy, yes, velocity is squared, but in terms of momentum, which you actually need, the mass and the velocity are equal. So if you can keep a high velocity with a larger mass, boom, more momentum. There's your little physics lesson there. And so that's, but I'm a straight down the pipe guy too. I can't, I look at if you can get it the same over and over again, yeah, I'm sure it's super accurate, but I don't bowl professionally. So it's, I don't practice enough. And what's your bowling style?
I'm also kind of just walk up and let the ball go. I used to bowl a lot when I was a kid, and I had a ball. Like, I had my own, so I didn't have to use house ball. My parents met at a bowling alley, so I guess it was like a rite of passage that we all got bowling balls at some point. Yeah, so I had this like purple and blue sparkly 8-pound bowling ball when I was a kid. But I was never really great at it. And I'm glad to hear that everyone here is beyond the, waddle up to the line and just sort of dangle it between your legs and toss it down. Yeah. Put up the bumpers. Everyone at least tries. We're all expert connect bowlers at this point, right? Like we're all.
Oh yeah.
Really
I can Wii bowl to the end of the world, man. Like I think I almost hit a perfect game on Wii bowling once, but that was ages ago.
Ooh.
Connect Sports Bowling, I was close. I'm up at the 280s. And I got my achievement for it, so.
Yeah,
we went with my son and daughter, and so my son's 9, my daughter's 6, and so my daughter uses the ramp, right? She just does not coordinate enough to hold a ball that heavy and still roll it, so she uses the ramp, and she's just there having fun targeting and pushing it down. And my son now is old enough where he wants to use, just throw it like he would normally, and so, but he'll see the scores and be like, just devastated that my daughter's beating him with pins, and I'm like, it's not the same game. You guys aren't even playing the same game. Like, stop focusing on all the spares and strikes your sister's getting. She is literally pushing it down a ramp. Like, you gotta just, and get it out of your head. I mean, he's so competitive.
I mean, I got it, to lose to your younger sister at that age, I'm the youngest, so I wouldn't know what that's like. But even losing to your older siblings at that age is maddeningly frustrating. I can understand that.
Yeah, absolutely. Prue, did you have anything else that you wanted to touch on, video game wise, about what you played?
No. Actually, one other thing that I did was we kind of left Life is Strange halfway through the new one, which is, God, I can't remember the subtitle. Whatever it's called. Before the Storm or whatever.
Before the Storm.
And restarted playing that again this week, and it's good. It's real good.
You say you and your
yeah, me and my girlfriend. Yeah, we always play those types of games together. So, it's every bit as charming and earnest as the first one is. I'll say that it has the same sort of flaws, but it's still very captivating, and I'm excited to see where the story goes, even though it's only 3 chapters, I believe.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, absolutely. I do have one other piece of clarification that we had from last episode, and it was the PUBG physical release.
Oh yes,
and I had said jewel case, that you bought a jewel case with a digital code in it. It's not even a jewel case. I have been corrected on multiple accounts that it is literally a cardboard box filled with stickers and a digital code. You couldn't even get a jewel case out of it. Yeah, you know what? Like I said, it gives a shelf presence. I understand the philosophy behind it, but I really thought it was at least a jewel case. Like, it could slide in with your other games and look normal.
Yeah, I don't quite get the because most gaming stores, places that have physical displays, have a wall with the codes hung up on them. So it does already have
clipboard
shelf space, even just having the digital code. So I don't get why they would spend the money to publish this little cardboard box to ship it to retailers. Like, I don't think it makes a lot of sense. A jewel case I get for the same reasons you're saying. It looks nice on your shelf. It's part of your collection. This is not going to satisfy that same desire, especially for collectors. It's almost insulting.
It is a really weird situation, too. I mean, obviously PUBG has been massively ginormous this past year. Mm-hmm.
So much so that we have a chat now in our Discord, discord.io/Z2Z. There's now a PUBG channel. So any of our Z2Z community members who want to hook up and get some chicken dinners, there's a place for you.
And keep in mind, that game doesn't even have achievements, and now it has a special place in the Discord. So
ridiculous.
It's just really interesting because it's such a unique position that PUBG is finding itself. It's like, should we have an actual disc run? Well, no, because the game's going to change tremendously in the next 3 months. By the time we get them out there, it's not going to be the same thing. They're going to have to download it anyways. And but we still want to get it out in front of people for the Christmas season. And what's the best way to do this? A fake pretend case. Okay. It's just, I agree. I don't know how effective. I agree with you, Michelle. I don't know how effective that is, but it's a really interesting and unique thing that only something like PUBG could do in this sort of situation.
Well, we're going to get another layer on this, I think, too. Once the game hits that point where it's really in final distribution mode, if they do at that point release the jewel case version with a CD and have like a true retail launch, because then that makes this even more bizarre. Like, why even do this at this point? Because we don't know what the final plan is yet. We just know that it's still in preview, essentially.
Yeah, right. And the terrible, terrible cardboard box copy could be a collector's item a few years down the line. Who knows?
You never know.
How many people bought it, I guess. Yeah. Before we move into the rest, I mean, we've been already deep into the show already, but before we move in, I want to do my game mashup for Week 7. The game mashup is where you take two games, squeeze them together by a common word in between, similar to Wheel of Fortune or Jeopardy's before and after. Let me give you Week 6 as an example of what we did. The Week 6 clue was, this mashup is all about time travel, whether returning to 1939 to join the occupant rebellion or 2099 to figure out a convoluted world-ending plot. The gameplay features a precursor to bullet time by slowing down the action to battle and solve puzzles. It makes sense with a licensed character like this to have heightened senses. The answer to that was... Do you know it?
Can I guess?
Looking at the answer? Yeah. If you haven't looked.
I always forget the rules of this game, too. The Spider-Man is the second one, right?
Well, that's one of the games.
So it's Back to the Future and Spider-Man.
No.
Damn.
But that's cool. But I don't know how you'd match those together. So it actually is Spider-Man Edge of Time Shift.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yeah. Spider-Man Edge of Time plus Time Shift equals Spider-Man Edge of Time Shift. So that's how you play the game. You mash two games together. So here is Week 7. This mashup is all about self-discovery. Either a newly created avatar or a pimply teenager. The basis of this game is puzzle solving, but the mechanics are hella different. There is time bending and changing perspectives, two approaches to understand the nature of reality, and that sometimes you cannot change the inevitable. So if you happen to know what that is, now Fufu Cuddly Poof had asked, he's like, I really love these things, but I want to know the answer, like, immediately, even though I might not get it. And so he suggested I put in like a channel in our Discord where you can see the question, and behind a spoiler you could click it just to your own self-satisfaction. I'm still toying with the idea if I want to do that, because I do like hearing from the community, because I get lots of people sending things in and saying, hey, is this the answer? And then, I get to have a little conversation with community members and stuff, and so that's fun. So I don't know if I'm going to do that yet, Fufu, but it's a great idea. But if you do, in the meantime, do have the answer to that question. Maybe I'll at least put the question, because I know we're not great at putting things in our show notes, even though I say they're there. Having a channel with actually the clue there, so you can actually look it up. Anyway, so that was the mashup for the week. Let's move into some of our show topics. I want to start off with the random to-do list. It is now, the new season of the random to-do list has started, the 2018 first trimester. So we're doing another 4-month run at it here, which started here January 1st, and will go through the month of April. So that's 4 months of lists, 100 achievements worth over the 4 months. You get 25 each month. And so, super exciting, fun time of the month every time we get a new list here. But there's been some discussion about what how do we feel of this as a contest? What does this mean in terms, from a community standpoint and different people's approaches? Because there are multiple ways to look at the list. And it's because you have an opportunity for many people to curate your list and make sure that it's games that you want to play. I myself have dropped my list down to about 3,000 achievements of games that it's like, this is my hit list of games I want to play. I have 15,000 achievements in my backlog, but I don't want to play Forza Horizon 2 right now. Like, that's just not on my list of things I'm interested in. I have plenty of other games I want to focus on, and I have 100 hours a month to do it. And so I don't want to be sent all over the world looking for things. I want to focus on games that help me satisfy A, the Gamertag Challenge, and B, the Community Challenge for the Z to Z. So I tailor my list each month to fit that criteria. And so with January's name being Saucy Slingo, there'll be some G's, there'll be some Y games in there, a couple U's, some S's. I have my pool of like 120 games that I pulls from. And then in February, when we move to Crandy and Spazpol, that list will change. The Y's, well, the Y will still stay in there, but the U will come out, and I'll put some Z's in, and so forth. And that's how I tailor my list each month. But that does open the opportunity for others to curate their list even further and hover down toward the minimum of 1,000 achievements. And maybe make it a little easier on themselves. And I know there was a lot of talk in the Discord channel, and I know, Em, you are particularly well-versed in everything that's going on with this topic. I want to hear from you and just explain your stance on the random to-do list and what you think of the contest as a whole.
Well, before anything else, I love random to-do lists, and I think that's the case for just about everyone in the community. Because even though it's a competition, it manages for most people to not be ultra competitive. The competition's more with yourself than with other members of the community to see what you can accomplish in your month. Right. But this came up in Discord in terms of the viewpoint of the contest. If you're viewing it strictly as a contest, there should never be curating, right? Because the playing field should be fair. It should be everything that you can randomly get. But if you're playing it as a self-improvement tool for your completion percentage, then curating makes sense because you might draw multiple achievements from a single list. It helps you decide, like you said, you don't want to play Forza Horizon 2 right now, so let that go. I fall somewhere in the middle because I like the competing part of it, but I have a more competitive nature than I like to admit to. So sometimes I'm like, oh man, yeah, there are 3 full combos that month, but it's like a guy with 1,000, a guy with 2,000, and a guy with 2,000. So that's not their full pools, but they still they had 6,000 points apiece, I think, in their draws. So it's not that they necessarily didn't have difficult achievements to go for. But like I said, I'm kind of right in the middle. Like, I consider curating every month because I look at games I have on my shelf, like Enslaved Odyssey to the West, that I've wanted to play and I hear is great. Have either of you played that, by the way?
Yep. I'm mostly done with it. I need a hard playthrough and about 6 cleanup achievements.
Do you see yourself going for those?
Yes, when I need the letter E in a month. So Saucy Slingo does not have an E in it, and so Enslaved is on the shelf for another month.
So neither does Crandy and
or Spazpol.
Or Spaz. So it's going to be a little while.
At least until March. Which makes it really hard to relearn the mechanics.
That's exactly where I was going with that. That's part of the issue with that sort of really micromanaging sort of curating is one of the games I did pull completely off my list because I have I think my pool's about 5,000 and I have about 7,000 achievements that are locked. So I have done some. Some of that's Windows Phone and Win 10 games that we were asked to pull, but that's not a big number of them. So I have pulled some. Batman, I will not relearn. I'm just not going to do it. I completed it and or completed the campaign. So not the achievements, obviously. I'm not going to relearn all the controls to figure out how to get the Riddler trophies, which involve you being really good at the controls in some ways.
Right.
It's just not going to happen.
Or a lot of those like flawless fighter ones and stuff.
Those ones are tough. Yeah. Those ones are tough.
I had one for Ninja Turtles, the Out of the Shadows. Like I have 4 achievements left in that game, and one of them is to do essentially the 12 move combo in one go, and it's like, oh my god, are you kidding me? Like it's my hardest one, so it'd be a real achievement, it'd be a real feat if I could get it, but I can't relearn all those fighting mechanics and how to maintain a fluid combo.
Right. And I'll leave things on my list like I need 1 achievement in Gears of War 2, right? Seriously, 2.0, and I've needed it for like, I don't know, 7 years.
Yeah.
And it's really just like sit there and get done like, oh, I'll leave it on RTDL, maybe it'll come up, but the chances of it coming up are 1 in 5,000, and it hasn't happened yet.
It's astronomical.
Right, exactly, which is kind of a silly way to use it, so it doesn't make more sense to pull that, because why even have that there? But looping this all back to random to-do lists, it just depends on your view of it. I think if the view of the community was this is a contest,
right,
it should be full lists or like curating no more than 10%, sort of like UHH did, which I think was a great way to do that for people who wanted to compete. But I just don't think that's the nature of this community and of this particular thing. And it's fun to see how people do all their stuff. And it's like, Christmas is the first of every month because everybody gets all excited about their lists and all that. So,
absolutely. Proulx, do you share those sentiments, or do you have a different take? Or
we've talked about this quite a bit in the past. I'm an RTDL purist. The biggest problem for RTDL for me is that it doesn't include DLC. It doesn't force me to go back and get DLC that I need to go back and do anyways. So I know that that's an issue with how the thing is structured, and that's fine. It's no big deal. I can always force myself to do it if I want. But RTDL gives me the reason to go back and do the things that I normally wouldn't do. So
does it though?
Yes, it does. It does. It's all about balance though too, because obviously there's lots of other competitions going on. There's other goals that you're trying to accomplish. I'm comfortable being in the top 10 if I can. That's like my goal. I doubt that it may come to pass that I get a great list and I can hit a full combo. God, I would love to do it too, and I would try real hard if it was a doable list. But I look at my list in the beginning of the month and I say, okay, reasonably I can get these 15 to 20 achievements. And that's good for me because that is going back and going through all these games, relearning them, going through the stories or whatever, maybe collectibles or whatever it is. And it forces me to do that. And I love that because it varies my gameplay up considerably. Obviously we all play in different ways. We have different styles. But me, I have the stuff that I'm boosting and then random points and then maybe a game or two that I'm just playing because I just really want to play that game. This forces me to go back and get some stuff done that I haven't done before. Like Michelle says, I don't look at this as a competition with anyone but me. I like to see where I am on the list in relation to other people, and that does kind of encourage me to play to try a little harder. But it's not like if I come in 12th place versus 9th or 23rd instead of 15th. That's no skin off my back. That's cool. I'm just going for because I want to get that stuff done. And that's how I look at random to do.
Now,
go ahead, Tim.
No, it's okay. I have a question for both of you, just out of curiosity. I don't know if you know offhand, but do you happen to know like what your best month, in terms of how many achievements you earned, not in terms of your placement, your best month in RTDL was and what your worst month was? Like, do you tend, because I know I'm very inconsistent. My worst month in RTDL was 1 achievement and my best was 23. So it depends on the list that month. Are you guys, you tend to do your 5 to 7 or you're also kind of all over the map?
I tend to hit harder. I say harder. I'm sure there are months that I hit like 4 or 5 achievements. But I think I generally tend to stay in the 12 to 20 range is probably where I fit pretty comfortably as an average. And I'm pretty comfortable with that. like, oh god, I was going to pull up my list. I'm not going to do it right now. I think I'm at like 18 or something right now.
Wow.
And I was at like number 9 and you know, a week into this month. I'm good with that. That's good for me. That's like exactly kind of, again, unless I get a great list, it's just not going to happen every month because there are things that I just won't find worth going for. But that's exactly kind of where I want to be.
Yeah. And I'm in the like 10 to 12 pretty consistently each month. You know, I look at everything that's realistic. I divide it into time and hours that it would take me to get there. And then I, you know, divvy out my open nights to figure out, okay, I can do this here and here. You know, between all the other boosting that I do and the other, you know, games that I play with community members and stuff, you know, just that's how it ends up panning out. My worst month, I did have like a 1 or a 2 achievement month back, I think it was like February when we kind of first started it. And that, whatever that month was, whatever my worst month was, the next month was where I said, no, I'm curating my list. This is stupid.
Okay.
Like, because it was one of those things where I looked at my list and I was like, I don't want to play any of this garbage. Like, I got a ton of stuff on here that was just, it was old. It was everywhere. It was all deep in games. Like, oh, play Assassin's Creed Syndicate for 12 hours. And, you know, and it's like, well, yeah, there's a ton of achievements in that game. And it makes sense that, you know, if I look at all 15,000 achievements I have at my disposal, I might have 1,000 worth of Assassin's Creed achievements. So getting some Assassin's Creed game is very highly likely.
Right.
But I want to do those in order. So I'm working on 3 right now, in theory. And so I don't want to be jumping ahead to 4, 5, 6, you know, Unity, whatever. And so I'm like, okay, get rid of all those. And then a Gears of War 1 multiplayer will come up. And it's like, I'm done with that game. Like, I don't want anything to do with Gears. I don't want to do 100 of anything in that game.
Right.
I'm done with it.
Well, and also, like, the contest in terms of community participation has changed a lot from your February 1 or 2 to now. Like, I want to say even back in like July, if you got like 18 achievements in a month, you'd be probably top 5. And now with 3 full combos this month, I think Chin Doctor, NBA Kirkland, and Rocker Dude, yes, have the full combos this month. Like that was not. I think there were 3 full combos like in the whole year previous. So it's awesome that people are so much more motivated now, which is what brought up the whole question about, you know, how are you viewing this sort of thing. And like you said, you have someone like Mango who could easily tailor his list down to just Telltale games he's never played. He wouldn't hit the 5,000 minimum, but could do that and add like Killer Instinct, which isn't hard, and easily get his full combo in the first couple of days. So it's interesting to see what people choose to do with it. But he's a purist like Proulx is, I think.
Yeah. I think you nailed it with where we are as a community right now. You know, so there are prizes involved, right? Every month we give away a prize we do a random draw based on the number of achievements you unlocked. And it's a small $10 gift card or whatever. It's nothing special, right? It's just a small little thing. And yes, if you got all 25, that is a higher percentage than someone who got 10. But given the size of the pool, a person who got 25 achievements and a person who got 10 achievements, while that is still 2.5 times better, your odds, there's still plenty of, I mean, we're unlocking 500 some achievements. And so you go from like a 1% to a 2.5% chance. And so, yeah, it's significant, but it's not like, oh yeah, if you get the full combo, then, you know, for sure you're getting, you're a shoo-in for doing this. And, you know, so I think we've purposefully dropped the prize incentive down, but we want to encourage people to be unlocking as many achievements as possible. And I think with the size of this community that are playing the random to-do list right now, you've got a nice mix of people who do, you know, have their personal goals, right? That I want to do this for me, and this is telling me how to play, and I have some targets to achieve. You've got a small subset of like, hey, yeah, we're gonna really be competitive with our fellow gamers, and I want to have a full combo. It needs to be doable, but I need to have as many points as I can. Like, how can I, you know, do this in a month? You got some people who are going at it like, well, how fast can I get my full combo? How, or completions wise, can I get these to springboard into completions? There's all sorts of different approaches that people are taking. And I think it just goes again to the community that we have. That's not to say that at some point we might not get a bad egg who comes in here and for 3 months in a row, he has a pool size of, 4,500. And even though that's below our minimum, that he has 1,200 achievements and hits 4,500 each month, but they're getting full combos like right away. That's entirely possible. Somebody might come in and do that, and we may then have to step in and say, okay, like you can have a list, but you're out of the you won't be listed on the on the spreadsheet because you're ruining the spirit of this fun. Very, community-friendly competition.
Well, way to give them the idea, Fream. Way to give them the idea.
And that's why I'm telling them there will be repercussions for it if people
think, though,
seem like they're abusing it.
Actually really impact it, though? Because, if they come in, it depends on how they come in, right? If they come in and they're gloating about it, and they come in and they're, just awful about doing that, then it's one thing. But if they're choosing to curate the lists to complete the easier games they have to complete to get them kind of over the hurdle of finally getting them done, that's in the spirit of what other people are doing.
Could be.
And I think to Michelle's point about how this community is, well, at least for me, I can say that for sure, if somebody came in and got a full combo every week or every month on the first day, it would not affect my random to-do list performance at all. One tiny bit, I would just keep playing. And I think that's the case for most people. I do think there's a small sense of pride for the people who finish everything first or whatever. But like we've been this whole discussion, the whole point of this discussion, it's more of a self-improvement sort of tool. It's more of a competition against yourself. And I think it's taken lightly enough in the community that we're all just doing it and we're all enjoying it, and that it's friendly competition. It's not that sort of strict, we need to pare down our lists to the tiniest T, and that's where we need to get. And that's, I think it's a much more casual sort of event than those sort of competitions where there are people who come in and ruin it. I think that one person would just come in and get a bunch of points, and then that would be it.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I think the random probability prize has a lot to do with that. I obviously don't know numbers, but I feel like most of the times when I hear the winner, it's not the person who got the most achievements. It's, here's someone with 9 achievements this month who had a 2.5% chance to win. So everyone's got a chance. You're in it to win it if that's what motivates you, as long as you get one achievement. And it's very different from, unfortunately, the kind of stuff we're talking about is stuff that is seen more frequently with UHH or with GTask, where people get very angry about preloading and things like that. That's it's not the case for this, because preloading doesn't do anything for you, because you'd have one achievement per game and you'd need thousands of game. It wouldn't work. So I think that the design of RTDL avoids a lot of those pratfalls.
Yep. What I think, I would think if, let's say someone like Skeptical, right, who comes in, he has a massive list of preloaded games. And so if he tailored his list to all his preloads were in there, and then he, did a filler game, a bulk game, and all of a sudden his list came and he was just like, nobody would be like, hey, great job. They all be like, you're a douche for preloading and cheesing the system. And that's why nobody does that here, because they wouldn't get the, oh my God, you're like my fake internet hero. The things you do are so cool.
I hope you enjoy your $10.
I hope Mario isn't listening to this crushed because you've ruined his plan.
He's like, oh man, January I was going to smoke all you. Yeah. But I think that's the thing, is our community we see through that garbage, and we'd say I know Elroy has made comments in the past about oh yeah, well, you only put 1,000 achievements on your list or whatever. That's very much in jest, and he may, and maybe he is secretly really competitive, and it just steams him inside that he's got 1,800 achievements to whoever's 1,000 achievements, right on the borderline. But I think he's a little higher than that. But anyway,
Elroy can never get too competitive about that, because we all know he has the student achievement factory. So his the segment the What the L segment that he and L do, that's a big part of the reason why there's been such an uptick. People like
absolutely
hearing how they've done and hearing they got a full combo, and he's very creative about, I'm not just going to mention the top 5 every week. I'm going to find a reason to mention other people. So that's been great for RTDL too.
Totally agree.
Yeah, it's been obviously we've talked about that before as well, but that as well as now we have this new bot, I think.
Yes, the bot is great.
Really good things in the future for Random To-Do Lists. And I don't think we're going to have any issues maintaining the spirit of the competition. But hopefully everybody comes in just knowing, let's just have some fun. Let's have some fun with it, and we can compete. Like Fream said, don't be a douche.
Yeah, because I will kick you out. Yeah. That's the beauty of it. Hey, so let's talk about, we'll keep things light and fun. We'll talk about the year that is coming. 2018 is upon us. So I posted some things and to hear from the community and how we did on our goals, maybe what you're looking for in the upcoming year. And so I just want to read a couple of things from our community and talk about what our goals and things are, because I'm going to tell you right now, there's some random to-do list stuff in my 10 New Year's resolutions for gaming. But I wanted to touch on Keith 271179 in terms of his 2018 goals. A little bit long here, but I'm going to read it. He says, I thought I'm going to message you because the space in the TA comments is not enough. I failed most of my goals from last year, like doing all the gamertag challenges, staying in the top 10 of the RTDL. I had 2 goals for TA, getting into the top 100 in England and the top 500 in the world for racing game leaderboards, which he still might do. We'll have to check back at the end of the year and see where he made it. But he's talking about 2018 and how much fun he had with his Titanfall crew, the UK Titanfallers. And he says that he's still friends with those guys, and they boost a ton of games now. And so he's really happy that Z2Z, had him meet up with those guys. So shout out to Buck Marley, McLovin Legend, and Tatey. And so what that has now precipitated is a battle in the GTASC. Now that there are pairs, he's got Buck Marley and Tatey versus McLovin and Keith 271179. So he absolutely wants to beat that team. That is his goal for 2018 is to shut them down. We had a similar goal with the podcast hosts at some point, and that was super fun. But he also has goals to hit 300,000 Gamerscore, which is overall better than his year in 2017, his scoring year. His best scoring year was 70,000 Gamerscore, which he's pumped about, and hopefully the GTSC is going to help that out. He says thanks to and a lot of that he's contributing to this podcast and all the community events over at TA. And he says, so thank you for all the work you guys put into the show and contests. Thanks a bunch and Happy New Year. So thank you, Keith, for still listening, and I'm glad that worked out with your Titanfall crew. Em, what's on your plans for 2018, your gaming plans, and how'd you do in 2017? You pretty happy with your performance?
2017 went well. I hit all the goals I set on TA because none of them were particularly I didn't really reach for the stars. I just kind of usually hit the next round number. So for the next year, I want to get to 400,000 Gamerscore, which just sounds like a really weird number to say.
That's pretty darn high.
It's a lot of time spent playing video games for achievements.
We may have a little mini competition there then. We'll see.
Oh, yeah? Oh.
What's your distance? Are you guys close? Both
no.
Same?
She's way farther ahead than I am.
No.
Well, I'll talk about my stuff when we get to me. Don't worry about me.
But yeah, I'd like to hit 400,000 Gamerscore. My real, pie in the sky goals, I'd love to hit 75% completion. I'm at 70% now.
But how many achievements to get to that next percentage?
Yeah, it's 280 or 300 achievements per, and I average between 1,500 and 2,000 achievements a year. So it's possible if I'm really good about not starting a whole lot else. I had 2012 was the year of destruction on my tag between G-Task and getting pretty far in it that year and a really big bean dive that I never recovered from because I think I still have 20 games that I only have one achievement in that I just have no desire to play. Because friends don't let friends put Call of Juarez the Cartel on their tag. So there's a lot of damage that's been done. And I think at my lowest, it was 59%, and I've slowly struggled back to 70. So that's my big goal for next year is to try to get to 75%. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I did 2013. That's my big scar, and I'm still. Like, people have said, "Hey, you're gonna stop doing that bean dive." It's like, no, I want to know. Like, I need to know that I'm offsetting my new games by continually to get this line to go up. So it's like, hey, you started 32 games since January or July 7th or whatever. You started 32 games, but it's like, yeah, but that percentage is still climbing. Like, that's all I need to know. I'm still going in the right way. Although this 12-game leapfrog is really screwing that over. Skeptical Mario says, hey, I met all of my goals except those related to completion percentage, for which I place all the blame on you, talking to me, and the TA events team. What do you say about that? Sorry, man. That's your thing.
That's not completely fair, right? I know Skeptical Mario played with Proulx and myself and Elle and Fufu, and we did Left 4 Dead, and that only helped his completion percentage. So
there you go. Right, there you go.
That's got to be given some credit for.
Halo done too, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't get this blame casting that's happening.
Yeah, he has a follow-up question that says, and Em, you kind of touched on this already, but he said, how would you characterize your 2017 in gaming as a whole, and what do you expect 2018 to look like? I'm going to let off the accelerator and focus on socializing more, so that'll be fun. Hey, I love Skeptical Mario. Like, he's super smart when it comes to his questions. Like, I love how much time and effort he puts into them. And his wit in the Discord channel is brilliant. He has got some just... I always picture him as a deadpan, just boom, and he slides that comment in there, and it's like, that is freaking great. So those are always usually make me really happy. But you kind of mentioned how your 2017 as a whole. Do you expect things to change a lot for you in 2018? More status quo? What do you how is your gaming going to morph or change at all? Anything new or exciting you think on the horizon?
Obviously, you don't know till the year plays out. And even at the end of the year, like, I looked at my stats for this year before we recorded today. And I was thinking, it was kind of a down year. I don't recall really, like, playing that much. And if we're going to talk at some point about games you played in 2017 that you love, we'll get there. But when the Game of the Year voting came out, I played 11 games that released in 2017. And none of them were, like, A-plus titles. They were, $2, I'm going to get some achievements today games.
Right.
But when I looked back at what I had done over the year, it was a good year. I got 45,000 Gamerscore and 80,000 TA. So it wasn't like I wasn't playing. So it's just sort of sneaky because I play most nights. Right. I think for next year, I actually want to do the opposite of Mario, where he's saying he wants to be more social. I kind of want to pull back a little bit and sit down with campaigns some more. Something that Random To-Do List has brought up a lot lately is the concept that, you start a game, you get to 25% of it because you get the achievement you need, and then you drop it because you got to go into your next Random To-Do List thing. And as I was looking through these lists, a couple games came up, Brutal Legend and Alan Wake. And these were both games that I bought before I joined TA even. It's 2010, or maybe just after I joined TA. So before I was boosting and all that stuff. And I started and finished the campaigns within a week. I don't remember the last time I sat down with a game that was supposed to be like a quality release, like an Assassin's Creed Origins or anything like that, and really just played the campaign. So in 2018, I kind of want to go the other way. I'd like to spend more time just really digging into campaigns, like new things, not 5-year-old campaigns, and seeing what's out there that's new and exciting, because I feel like I totally lost that in 2017.
So would you say that maybe you could say that 2017 put a little bit of... how do I put this delicately? Maybe you have a little bit of back pain from carrying Elle all over the place. Is that what you'd say? I mean, that seems pretty fair. I think.
That's been going on since like 2011, though. That's not new.
What about you, Proulx? What was your 2017? How do you characterize that?
2017 was great. I definitely my best. 2016 may be right there too, but a good year for me as far as gaming is concerned. I set my goals a little low for 2017, and I hit them
on purpose.
No, I didn't know where I was going to land. It was the first time that I was actually really setting goals and that sort of stuff. Didn't really know where I was going to land on it, so I've done the opposite. I set my goals for 2018, and I'm reaching for the stars.
Good for you.
Yeah, no, I'm
awesome.
excited. It's funny because when Michelle was going down her list, it sounded like she was reading off of my list. I 75% is my percentage goal.
Oh, okay. Where are you at now?
I'm one achievement away from 67%.
Oh, so that's a pretty significant.
It's pretty significant. So, it's my most modest goal. I think that will be the easiest one for me to hit. I hope. So I hit my Gamerscore goal for 2017 in mid-October.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So I immediately set my goal. So I wanted to hit 250,000 by mid-October, and I did. And then I immediately set my goal for the end of 2018, which was I think I set it for 350. And I was already at like 17% today when I looked at it. So I was like, okay, let's just do it. I wiped that goal and I said 400K, which is apparently an average. This is really neat that TA will tell you this. It's an average of 350 points a day.
Wow.
For the whole year.
That's a lot.
Yeah. So again, it may not be even, I may not even be close, but I want to go for it. I want to I'm going to hit the ground running in 2018 and I'm ready to do it. And then the last thing I set as a goal was to complete Master Chief Collection. Unfortunately, you can't set a goal on TA for completion percentage of a series, which I think that would be really handy. But I want to chase that 100%, or at least whatever's possible of 100% in the Halo, series, and getting 100% in Master Chief Collection is going to be as close as I can get, I think.
Sure, yeah, that makes sense.
Awesome.
Before I get into mine, I want to. Couple more community comments. Spinal Clerk, his major goal of mine in 2018 is find a job in my field, which is English. Gaming related, he wants to be #1 in racing games for Pennsylvania. So good luck on that one. And Mighty Mango said, hey, I failed all of my goals. I'm actually fairly proud of that. In terms of my gaming, so 2017 for me, good year for me. So it's my highest Gamerscore year. I scored 45,000 Gamerscore. My closest was 2015 at 36, so a significant boost in terms of that, which also then correlates to a higher TA than I've ever had, almost 70,000 TA and almost 1,500 achievements. I typically average about 1,000 achievements a year, and so there's a significant boost. And over the last 3 years... so let's see, I started gaming when I got married in 2009 is when I got my Xbox. And so, from 9 to 2015, so those 6 years, I amassed X amount of Gamerscore. Well, in the last 3 years, I've accumulated 62% of my current Gamerscore, 60% of my current TA, and half of my achievements. So I got a lot of easy stuff in the beginning, in terms of number of achievements, and I've been going for those completions, finishing off games, getting more difficult things, and so my Gamerscore and TA have shown that. So what does that mean for 2018 then? Well, I'm all over the place in terms of my gaming goals. So I'm only 12,000 Gamerscore away from 200K, which is pretty darn close. And so to say I want 200K as a goal is dumb, because I'm going to get that very early in the year. Well, how early is that? Well, I'm saying tax day, April 15th. I have a vacation planned, and so I want to be at 200K before I take that vacation. And so April 15th is going to be that day. That is an average of, about 3,000 Gamerscore a month, which is pretty close to my average. It's about right. And so then for the full year, I want to hit 230, which is 42,000 Gamerscore. And again, my average is typically 38,000. So it's another 4 games completions on top of my average, but it is short of my best year of 2017. So we'll see if I can match my best year. That's kind of my stretch goal, but I do want to improve my average. In doing so, my TA is going to go up to 400,000 TA. That is a stretch, because that's at 84,000 right now, my distance I need to get to. I average about 60,000 per year. And again, my best year in 2017 here, 68. So that's a 40% increase in my TA. So, I mean, that's some end game stuff that I need to be doing, or taking down some more difficult games. We'll see if I can do that. I'm going to hit 9,000 achievements this year. That's about 1,200 achievements for me in the year of 2018. I think I can easily do that. And I want to finish my completions challenge. I keep putting this up every year. The last 3 years, I've had 26, 24, 24 in terms of completions. I've never hit the magical 30, let alone the 30 individual, themes that I put forth. So you can actually see that on forum.z2z.com, the new 2018 completions challenge. The list of games is up, or the list of themes is up. So good luck on that one. And then we've got some random to-do list things. I want to hit a full combo. My goal at one of these months, full combo.
Me too.
Man, it's going to be really hard for me because, again, I've never finished above 12. Maybe I hit a 14 achievements once, but I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to figure out a way. I'm going to bust my butt to get a full combo. And I'd also like to get 150 random to-do list achievements. That's 12.5 per month. So I need to be averaging 12, a little more than 12 to achieve that. That's tough. That's like I said, I'm a 10 to 12 guy. I want to be hitting 12 every month with that full combo. That should do it. My last 3 goals are completions. So I want to hit 150 completions. For the year I'm 25 games away. So that's by current average to get to 150 completions. That's a nice number. Of those, I've got 5 that I really want to get done. Because I failed my other completions from last year of Disney Infinities. I still want to finish those, but they're not on my list. My list is the Z2Z community boosting games. Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare on the 360, Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare on the 1, and Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2. I don't think I can get all 3 of those done in the next year, especially only playing once per night, but we're almost done with the 360. I've got a lot of distance on the 1 version of Garden Warfare, so perhaps we can do, PvZ Garden Warfare 2 at a reasonable time. The other 2 games, Diablo 3, I am like 2 million gold away from completing the base version on the 360, and we are in the midst of Reaper of Souls on the 360. I want to get both those games done. I've got 52 weeks to do it. That puts me at about 100 hours. That's about right? That should do it. So those are my 2018 goals. Oh, boy, that's a doozy. I don't know if that can be done, but I'll post those somewhere that you can actually see.
You can do it.
Looking forward to it, though.
You can do
Thanks,
it.
I appreciate that.
You have the community to support you. You're going to make it.
Yeah.
There we go. Kingsman2625 says, "Hey, I hope everyone had a great holiday, but hey, what's going on with Review Zed and the community roundups?"
There were, you can talk about the community stuff, Fream, since that's your department, but there were some technical issues in the back end that kind of caused some problems for the past 2 weeks for Review Zed. You should be getting your regularly scheduled Review Zed this week, however. So I'm hoping I'm not going to eat my words here when this show comes out on Wednesday, but you should have one this week.
Well, and Spazpole's been on vacation for a while,
yeah, and
true. I mean, we haven't had a full crew to do it, so that's been thrown in there too.
Imagining Proulx hastily recording one Wednesday at like 9 a.m. I'm giving them a Review Zed. I'm giving them a Review Zed.
Hurry! No. We should be all good for this week at least, and hopefully for the weeks coming.
That 100% goes into the community roundup piece because we record on Fridays, and so I'll say things on the show that it's like, hey, I'll add this at the end of the show. But I always wait to do my community roundup because I want to hit the turnover, typically for GTAC, on Sunday so I can see all the results and record on Monday night. And so then, this week, Monday happened to be Christmas. And so I was like, oh boy, I should do this on Christmas Eve. I've got 2 kids. I've got some other obligations to do. So I didn't get recorded. So, I say things, doesn't happen. Maybe I'm a bad person. I like to think I do my best, and it just didn't work out. So, and a lot of the things, I don't want to keep repeating myself, which I end up doing quite a bit, because I'm telling the same thing. And at this point, our new listenership we're not, there's not a meteoric rise of new people. Like, a lot of these people are already pretty familiar with what we do. I like to, let others know. Maybe they're just jumping into the show or have listened to a few episodes. And so, yes, I will go through some of the rules of the different contests every now and again, but I don't want to just keep rehashing the whole thing. If there's something new, absolutely. If we're doing winners, yes, I will give that, the time it needs. But, I want to make that segment as relatively short because we still have to edit it. We have to put it together. We have to tack it on the end of the show and process it and edit, do all those things. So, that's kind of where the community roundup piece falls. He does have some follow-up questions. He says, I want to know what was everybody's favorite titles they played this year? Maybe the most surprising, most disappointing, and I hope you all had a happy new year. So, Em, you said you were talking about some of the games you played in 2017. What was your most surprising or disappointing or best game? What any comments on the past year? I know Proulx and I kind of talked a little bit about it last episode, but we haven't heard from you yet.
So this is not games that were released in 2017, right? This is just kind of what you experienced.
Doesn't have to be
2017.
I cheated.
You did.
I said Rocket League, and that was last year. So.
Oh, okay. So we've opened it up to last year.
Yeah.
That's awesome because that's mostly what I played. I think the game I actually had the most fun with this year was Overcooked.
Oh, good choice.
We need to go back to. I've been playing it with Elle and his wife and my brother, and it's awesome because the four of us are just screaming at each other for 2 hours, and then it's like the elation of like, oh, we finally got through. There was one time where like literally in the last second, someone's screaming at someone to put the dish in so that we can, and we just hit it, and everyone's like, just it's awesome. Overcooked is just a fantastic experience. I feel so badly that people are often not able to experience it the way it's meant to be experienced,
right?
Because it really, you need to play that locally with people. Even if you played it online with people, the ambiance of it isn't the same. And with lag and things like that, there's a lot that could go wrong. But oh man, that's been the most fun thing over the past year, I think, for me.
It's a great choice. I love that game so much.
What about you?
Well, we did talk about this last week, so
and I didn't open it up to other games though. Like, so you had said you cheated a little bit because I'm thinking of like only the 2017. I don't think I talked about some of my like things that I enjoyed playing that were non-2017 releases. Yeah,
well, I did because I did cheat, and I said Rocket League because it was the first time I played Rocket League, which was Christmas of last year. So Rocket League this is the year of Rocket League for me, so I don't need to rehash that. As far as games that actually came out in 2017, I said Clicker Heroes.
Yeah, that's right.
So I'm probably hitting a bunch of community love or hate depending on who you are on that one. So right. I don't generally tend to play the brand newest of games. I played South Park, and I enjoyed that quite a bit. There's probably a game or two other than that I played when it first came out. Mass Effect and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, it was mostly older games for me this year, so not a ton in 2017. Right.
A few things that jump out for me. I have really enjoyed playing Neurovoider, twin stick shooter with these little robots, and then a roguelite game. I played quite a bit of that, and I really enjoy that type of mechanics and playing that game. That was a lot of fun this year for me. Never Alone. I find I went ahead and finished that game this year. That's an older game, but I just love the integration of those the movies about the Inuit culture and learning about their
that's the one with the
folklore.
Wolf, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that was a really good surprise for me. I knew people had talked about it, talked pretty highly of it, and so I had some relatively high expectations going into it, but it was really a special game that I thoroughly enjoyed.
Was that a game you played on your own, or did you happen to play that with your son?
No, I played it on my own.
Okay.
I played it on my own, and then I played a little bit after I finished it. I mean, because it only took 2-3 nights. Brief. It wasn't anything special. I played a little bit with him afterwards. But so in kind of the vein of Neurovoider, I put a lot more time into Rogue Legacy. Another roguelike game. Man, that game is super in depth and I don't think I'm ever going to be good enough to really complete that game, but That was real special. And I also got to put a ton more time into State of Decay. I actually sat down and really gave that a lot more time. It's one of those games it's like, I should really play this. This is exactly the type of game that I want to play a lot of, and I, don't, because there's always other things to pull my attention away. The final game I want to mention is the boosting group we had of the Zombie Army Trilogy with playing with Beer Me and Koosh and Fug. Like, that was so much fun. When we played, for most of the year, Sunday nights, almost completed that game. I got 4 achievements left in that. I should actually add that to my list of things to do in 2017. Kind of get this hit list there. But that was great. I really enjoyed that. There was another one of those fun community games. So throw that on the list. But anyway, let's move on. We had another comment here from Philip Wendell. He said, hey, I hit my Gamerscore and completions goal. I tried to get all the gamertag challenges this year, but I missed November's because I spent too much time playing Watch Dogs. It's a weird game to be
like
stuck
the original
on.
Watch Dogs? Yeah,
He definitely said, he didn't say 2.
Interesting. Okay.
Definitely didn't say 2, but final question, final piece of feedback here from Skeptical Mario. What games in 2018 are you guys looking forward to? So let's start with Proulx here. I think maybe you can shed some light on some titles that tickle your fancy.
So when I first read the question, I was thinking, well, okay, what am I looking forward to in 2018? And the game that came up first was, well, nothing. No games came up in my head because I'm not aware of any games off the top of my head that I'm super excited about. Of course, so I do my due diligence. I try to find some sort of list of excitable games coming up, and I pull up a list. I think Games Radar was the first one that came up, and so I go down the list, and I'm like, oh, Sea of Thieves. Okay, I'm excited about Sea of Thieves. Maybe that'll be fun, and I'm hoping that we'll get a group together. I'm sure we will at some point in the community and play the game. That game I am looking forward to. Okay, cool. Okay, let's keep going on this list. Next thing I saw was Spider-Man, which I'm still so frustrated that it's not coming out on Xbox. Anyways, Naughty Dog. I think it's Naughty Dog that's doing it. Anyways, and then that was...
No, Insomniac.
Insomniac, thank you. Yes, you're right. And that was kind of it. Metroid, I guess, is coming out this year, and I assume by the time, if it does come out, presumably in November, I will have a Switch by then. So I will be I should say, that would probably be number 1 on my list. I'd be extremely excited to play a new Metroid Prime game. I would have the series completion in Metroid Prime if they had achievements. There's no there's no doubt about that. But honestly, other than that, not. Again, like I just mentioned in the 2017 question, I don't tend to play the brand newest of games, like unless it's something like Mass Effect that I'm massively interested in.
Right.
I'll wait until, because you have a zillion games from 10 years ago that you can play. So I don't know. There are some games I'm sure that I'll pick up when they first come out. If there's a big community push, or there's a lot of people on my friends list that are playing it. Maybe, who knows? This could be the year of a new Minecraft or a new PUBG or a new, Rocket League. And I would definitely be interested in that. But as far as like projecting into 2018, there's nothing really there that catches my eye, or just a handful, I should say.
Sure. And what about you?
So before I march into 2018, I would be remiss if I didn't mention with 2017 how awesome it was playing with the community throughout the year. Because you were mentioning some of your projects. Titanfall carried into 2017, regrettably, but it was fun. Plants vs. Zombies, Garden Warfare on the 1. We had a great crew also, so, that was tremendous fun, and I wanted to make sure I just threw that in real quick. As for 2018, I found that most of the games I'm looking forward to don't actually have, like, release windows, so maybe they're 2019 games even, or vaporware, as my fears go.
Right.
Because I'm really looking forward to Crackdown 3. So hopefully that's still happening. I'm also looking forward to Ori and the Will of the Wisps because
Yep.
I loved Ori and the Blind Forest. So looking forward to seeing more of that. And the other game that I'm looking forward to is Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, which I think actually does have a March window. I kickstarted that game. It's the new Metroidvania Igarashi game, like from the guy who actually did Symphony of the Night. They've been very active with their Kickstarter updates, which is great. So you know that it's still actively in development, and that might be the last physical copy of a game I ever own. So I'm looking forward to that one.
Absolutely. Those are some great titles there. I think you guys can all guess what my number one, and again, like you said, presumably it's 2018. I have to assume it is. And really a lot of these, you say we don't really know what it's going to be. It's mostly because Xbox's new stance now, Phil Spencer's new motto is, I'm not going to tell you about games that aren't coming out soon, because Crackdown's bit us in the butt, Sea of Thieves has bit us in the butt, State of Decay has bit us in the butt, I've had to shut down Scalebound, close a studio, Fable, Legends, total disaster. Like, everything has been pushed, delayed, or canceled because they announced them too early. And so he's now of the mindset. So it's like, we might hear a bunch of these things at E3, and it's like, guess what? This is coming out July, August, September, November, October. Here's all the games that are coming out in the next 6 months, and boom, there's a whole pile of these. That might happen. We have to expect that these games are coming out, but you're still not quite sure. So number one for me, State of Decay 2. Like, again, a game right up my alley. It's exactly what I love. If State of Decay 1 sounds bigger, sounds like there's more to do, not they're necessarily changing a lot that goes on with the game, but I get to play with friends. Like, that's going to be one of the best parts, is being able to play co-op with others. As much as I love that as a single player experience, like, you always tried to find a mission where somebody was forced to tag along with you, so you didn't have to pay influence, that someone was forced to be with you, because it was really great having someone else there to at least watch your back while you're searching for goodies. So that was always fun. Red Dead Redemption 2 is slated to come out in 2018.
Totally forgot about that one.
Yeah.
Crossing my fingers. I'm not sure, but holy crap. Not only am I excited just for the game in and of itself, but that, by all accounts, will be a spectacle. In term, you look at GTA 5. I don't think it'll be as big as GTA 5, but a new Rockstar game like this that's earth-shattering type, hitting the world. Just insanity. And then kind of a personal one for me, Anthem. They really intrigued me with that E3 showing. It's like Destiny, but, and there's a big but here.
It's like BioWare. Destiny made by the people who should be making Mass Effect. That's what it is. Sorry, that's
the big but, and it's not even the fact that it's Mass Effect. The big but is that EA has just taken a big steaming pile on all of the gamers in the recent history. Like, they have given me every reason to be hugely skeptical that they're going to be able to do this without ruining it with microtransactions. Like, I am very nervous for what Anthem has to be for EA to think that it's profitable and worth their time to invest in it. So I'm at odds with that one, because you've got BioWare that in theory should be doing a really great story, a wonderful world and setting and mechanics. Like, I have high expectations for what they can do as a studio, and then it's the publisher, and they are completely at odds with saying, yeah, you guys are doing a great job, but like, we're going to need more loot boxes. Like, if you can deck out those javelins with maybe some more like racing stripes and some like glitter effects and stuff, like, that'd be great. And if we could charge like $6 a pop for those, now we're talking. So I'm real nervous about that. I'm going to have to see some kind of more things out there. You guys remember that, and I don't know if it's coming out in 2018, but remember that E3 game, The Last Night? There's that weird, like, they had the beautiful watercolor like backgrounds, but it was a 2D pixel game.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, that's supposed to come out here in the near future. Now there was some sort of controversy about that, and I can't remember. I should have done some homework on this. I'm just going through a list of thumbnails here, but like that's a game that I'm excited to hear more about. Metal Gear Survive is supposed to come out in 2018. The Phantom Pain engine with zombies. Konami's game without Hideo Kojima. Again, just in terms of pure spectacle. Like, who knows? That could be super fun.
That actually that reminds me, Fream. If we're, was it in E3? I can't remember specifically when it was. And we were just talking about Marvel earlier. Do you remember when they made that big announcement about? I think it was Capcom making all the Marvel games that they were coming out with all these sorts of games based on Marvel characters. I think it was Capcom. We haven't heard anything except for that initial.
No, what? Who was making the Avengers game? That was
it was Capcom. I'm almost certain of it.
No, it was a different studio, like a legit studio that was making
a legit studio.
Capcom does not count as a legit studio.
They totally do not. I mean, like all we're getting from Capcom right now is garbage Street Fighter and Mega Man Legacy. Whatever.
Oh, like, it's Square. Square is the
Square. Yes, thank you.
That's
right.
who it is.
Yes.
Which blows my mind because I still think of Square as like the JRPG company, and I know they published like Tomb Raider, so they've branched out. But yes, they're the ones that have the big license now. That was
there you go.
I can't imagine that those games are going to come out this year, but even getting to learn more about those games gets me excited. So, but that it was just something that I was thinking of when you were also mentioning games that are definitely not coming out in 2018.
A Way Out, right? We talked about that in the past couple of shows. I'm excited about that. I think that's going to be a real interesting
that's cool.
Experience. Whether or not I play it in 2018, I don't know. But, again, a lot of these games, too, like, yes, they will come out in 2018. And I'm sure I was like, at the beginning of this year, I said, boy, I'm really excited for the new Assassin's Creed to come out. Yeah, I haven't played that. I'll play that eventually, but from all accounts, it looks good. I know that's not me. It's a Ubisoft game. I'm gonna buy that for $20 in April.
Right.
So, and the final game I want to mention here not an Xbox game, because Proulx, you had said Switch. Well, my son did get a Switch from Santa, so I'm looking at a Switch right now. It's on my downstairs TV. It's actually it's taking all of my willpower not to be fiddling around with the handheld while I'm recording this podcast. But we have rules. We have rules. We're not animals.
That's right. We're not allowed to play games while we're recording the show. So
and my son, he hasn't. All he has is Splatoon 2 as his like disc game. But if all of a sudden Dad comes home with Breath of the Wild, like I'm really excited to be playing that. Anyway, is Monster Hunter? That I don't know if I'm gonna like it. I don't even know. Like, there's such a storied history with Monster Hunter, but from what I've seen so far, like I am at least intrigued. It's certainly going to be a game I'm not going to pay for. Certainly off the bat. I need to test it. I need to play it. I need to rent it. I need to do something to get some experience with it first. But it's at least, it has enough of this cult following, enough excitement in the deep, deep storied history that has me intrigued. And then the visuals and the gameplay are at least intriguing enough that I think, yeah, I should probably give that a shot. Maybe that's something I would like. I don't know if I have the patience for it. I don't know if I'm going to enjoy the hunting part of it, but you give me achievements and all of a sudden, you know what? That changes my perspective on the whole thing. So, that's just a few games, I think.
There is a Monster Hunter game coming out for the Xbox One, and not too far away either.
That's the one, Monster Hunter Worlds,
right?
Oh,
I thought you were saying you wanted to play specifically on your Switch. That's why I was
confused.
No.
Oh, okay.
It made it seem that way. Yeah, by the way, it's a tough call, Fream, but if you pick up Breath of the Wild before Odyssey, I may judge you pretty harshly.
Oh, yeah?
So, just so you know, just so you're aware.
But I think my son actually will end up buying Odyssey So I don't necessarily have to worry about me doing that one, but I don't think
gotcha. Okay.
I'm not convinced he's going to do Breath of the Wild. I know he's at least interested in it, but I'm just not sure. I'm just totally not sure. Anyway, so let's see. Did we cover everything we needed to cover there? I think so.
One last 2018 thing just real quick. More Xbox One X enhanced titles and titles that are actually being developed for the Xbox One X. It's an exceptional piece of technology, and there's so much more that's going to be unlocked in terms of the look and the presentation of games. Yeah. The surface is barely scratched. So 2018 is going to be pretty exciting, seeing games that were really developed with this development kit available to the developers.
And I would also say, too, this also gives me an excuse to list Rocket League for next year's best of 2018 because the 4K patch doesn't come out until I think March or something like that. But I totally agree. It's very noticeable when these enhancements are given to the games that you love to play, and obviously the more the merrier. And I'm very excited to see going forward to see more games have this feature. So I'm excited.
Yeah, and it's a really interesting year for Microsoft, given that they spent nearly all of 2017 saying, this is our hardware year. We are going to come out with the best hardware. It's going to be amazing. And on the flip side, you've got new hardware in the Switch and Nintendo just killing it on both the hardware at the front of the year and the software to back it up. And PlayStation constantly pushing the games, the software. This is where you come to play games. And Microsoft really hasn't had anything to try and differentiate themselves. They've been relying on the fact that, yes, you can play those games on PlayStation. They're better on Xbox, but that's been a hard marketing angle for them because they have no real storied franchises that they could bank on this year. And to be honest, I'm not sure. I think we will get a Halo 6 this fall. But after the kind of the missteps of Halo 5, I'm not sure the community is as excited for a Halo 6 as they were leading into a Halo 5 and what they anticipated for a Halo 5, and then were ultimately let down in terms of story. So 6 really has to come out and show something. It's too soon for a Gears of War, so we're not going to see that. Can Forza Horizon innovate enough to make a difference? And then, the new games that we just talked about have these nebulous release dates. And they're supposed to be early in the year. Sea of Thieves, State of Decay, that's Sea of Thieves is, I think, March 27th. Yeah. The State of Decay is probably going to be a May, June-ish type. But all of a sudden, that'll probably get pushed maybe to August if they've got to deal with Rockstar, who's going to likely hit that May time frame. Who knows where all this, people are just going to clear out the way for Red Dead. But Phil has also come out and said, yeah, now that he's on the leadership team, he has more authority and can push developing more first party games. Now, we've talked about this, that doesn't necessarily mean Xbox exclusive. It just means first party. It means Microsoft published, getting back into publishing. Given his motto for, being able to play anywhere and play on PC, play on, the Switch, all sorts of things, my guess is he would still open it up to PlayStation, and then still there wouldn't necessarily be a delineation of, well, these are Xbox games and these are PlayStation games. Is that a good thing? Ultimately, I think it is for the gamer, but from a marketing standpoint, it's a harder hill to climb when you're trying to differentiate yourself from your competitor, who is much further ahead of you in the console sales point of view. I don't think this is going to be the year for them to make a difference in terms of any of those new games or those new studios or whatever it is. Despite Phil holding his cards close to his chest, I just don't think there's been enough development time to do those types of things. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe he's been working on this for the past 2 or 3 years. But if he's going to make a big splash in 2018, And maybe it is. Look, I know it's dangerous, but I would like to see some long range games announced. You know, as much as certainly, I think Sony goes too far and starts throwing crap out there like, "Hey, here's a 2022 game." It's like, yes, slow down. Like that's 6 years away, 4 years away, whatever it is. Like, don't expect that anytime soon. But you know, I could see one or two titles that are 2 or 3 years out that maybe, again, it's just dangerous and it's been him already, but to just focus on the next 8 months, it doesn't springboard into the next conversation where this is what you can play this year. This is what's coming out next year. Now is the time to invest in an Xbox. It's kind of that two-stage approach, which PlayStation is doing very well in their marketing.
Well, it's all wait and see, though. Gaming as an industry, like many industries, is incredibly cyclical. The Wii came out and it was killing it, and everybody just wanted a Wii. And before that, it was Sony with the PlayStation 2, and it just was everywhere. And then Microsoft, for a long time with the Xbox 360, at least in like the American market, was just held it down. And this is the way it goes, because every time the next guy gets better, the guys behind have to work harder to overtake. This cycle has been going on forever. It's wonderful for us as gamers because it forces them to innovate. And all three companies, to what I understand, are healthy. So even though Microsoft is the far third at the moment, it's not that they're going anywhere. This isn't Sega versus Nintendo back in the day where Sega's like, all right, we got to be a third-party developer now because it's the only way we're going to survive.
Right.
So we'll see. Microsoft was very quiet during the Video Game Awards. That was very much a Nintendo show. So we didn't hear a lot there. E3 obviously is, 5 months away. So we'll see what we get in the meantime. This is just a lull generally in the industry. There's a lot of potential out there. But yes, it seems like we're in this sort of weird, dark place. But it'll come around. It always does.
And well, you say dark place, but like, I certainly don't want it to come off as a negative connotation.
Right.
Like, I think, like you said, the companies are very
healthy.
There is a plan, but it's dark in the sense that, there's no little beacons of light leading the way to what's coming. There's plenty to look forward to, and I'm excited for those games, and I'm sure they're going to be great. And we're still going to get tons of indie things. Too many games I can't play anyway. Like, that's fine. But,
yeah, that's exactly how I feel about it, because, like I mentioned, Spider-Man coming out on PlayStation, and then of course Mario and Zelda on the Switch, but really 99.9% of games that you want to play, you can still play. And to me, I generally just, okay, oh damn, I can't play that. Okay, all right, well, whatever, I'll just play one of the other 200 games I have available to me at this point.
Right.
We're a unique type of gamer. I understand that for sure. But to me, it is slightly frustrating for half a second, and I'm just like, whatever. I have a zillion other things I can do, a zillion other things I can play. It's not that big of a deal. And it like Michelle says, it's cyclical, and it will come back around, and then we'll be the ones with all these great exclusives that I probably won't even play for the next 5 years. So, okay, thanks.
Well, and this thinking came up in Discord not long ago when Guacamelee 2 was announced.
Right.
And it's a PlayStation 4 exclusive, at least for the time being. And that concept of like, why would they do that? They're only hurting their bottom line, right? Because it's exciting when it's released, and then when it's released 4 months later on Xbox, we'll all have forgotten about it or whatever. This stuff is mostly, like you said, Proulx, it mostly is level. When my non-gaming friends ask me, like, what console should I get? It's always, do you prefer, Gears of War, or do you prefer God of War? That's really what you're looking at, because otherwise they're the same.
Right. Totally agree. There's not really a good, so we've been having fun. We've been talking about everything, but I do want to shift gears a little bit, and we're still going to have fun because inherently as a community, we joke about this, even though it's a serious topic. It came up this week that the World Health Organization is discussing adding video games or gaming to a classification of disorder. A gaming disorder could be a list of a mental health condition, much in the way that you would talk about, other disorders, gambling addiction, anything that has an addictive quality to it that could impact your normal life. To which, our community, of course, then was, they had a few examples in here about a gamer, who, hey, this person, he's got six consoles at his house, and he has a backlog of 150 games, and of course our community is like, 150 games? Like, I bought that in 2017. That's what, 10% of my backlog at this point. Chindock even said that too. Like, could I just show my Xbox 2017, year in review and just submit that for insurance claims and say, yeah, like, if I could just go ahead and get, mental health taken care of, because I've put in, 1,200 hours of gaming in the last year and this many whatevers. And Kush Moose even said, he's like, hey, I'm sorry, what now? I was idle boosting a Windows Phone game via an auto hotkey application while also using a Cronus to idle boost a crappy game that I don't have to play. And you said something about addiction? What was that again? And so, yeah, we're being glib about it and having some fun with it because, it's weird. Like, I fully admit that I am addicted to video games. Like, as far as addiction is concerned, we talk about what is it, what is an addiction and what is just a strong desire. Because, we had this conversation probably a year ago, and what classifies as an addiction? Is it something that is pervasive and it influences your life in a negative way, where you start to do things that you don't, you neglect other parts of your life? And I'm sure if you ask my wife right now, she's going to say, yeah, like, it's hurting our marriage. And to me, I'm like, well, you're asleep when this is happening. Like, but yes, I'm probably physically hurting myself because I'm only getting 4 or 5 hours of sleep a night. But I'm also getting, some positive reinforcement through feeling like I'm earning something and I'm, earning achievements, and that's, filling me with pride and pleasure. And, but again, that's part of the addictive part. That pleasure is what I'm seeking. Like, I need that hit of getting that toast or getting those achievements out of the way, and that's a destructive force, and not, I'm classifying it as something that's good because it makes me feel good, but inherently it's destructive. Again, this isn't official, right? This they're still talking about this. They haven't fully classified this as now, but what do you guys think? Michelle, I want to ask your opinion here. What do you think about this as in terms of actually being classified as a mental disorder? Do you think this is a positive step? Do you think a lot of people have undiagnosed gaming addictions, or do you think it's just gaming inherently is fun and that doesn't necessarily cross into the line of being an addiction?
I have a lot of thoughts on this topic, so pardon me if I ramble for a moment. But
absolutely, let's hear it. Just before we
go forward, a couple important things to distinguish. First of all, if you look around online right now and you just type in gaming disorder, the first article that comes up is the Chicago Tribune, or at least in my search history, that says it is classified as a disorder, which isn't the case at the moment. It's a draft of this, this World Health Organization list of disorders and diseases. So it's not that it's happened yet. And also just want to quote some of the actual language from the classification, just so we're clear. So gaming disorder would be a pattern of persistent or recurrent gaming behavior, either digital or video gaming. So this is going to include not just what we do when we're playing our Xbox, but I believe if you're also playing Words with Friends on Facebook, things like that, which may be online or offline. And the indications of the disorder, according to the World Health Organization, include things like impaired control over your gaming, such as the frequency, intensity, and ability to quit, giving increasing attention to gaming to the extent that it takes precedence over other interests and daily activities, and continuation or escalation of gaming despite the occurrence of negative consequences. So just to lay that all out there. My contention has always been, because I've played games since, like, I was 3, I think. Like, I have a very distinct first memory of gaming, so this has been part of my life forever. I'm not a TV watcher. When I get home at the end of my day, I get home, I eat dinner, and I sit down and I play my games. That's what I do to unwind. Mm-hmm. So I tell my colleagues, well, oh, you play games, you know, that, well, you sit down and watch TV, right? You binge watched the entire Stranger Things in one watching, or like all 9 seasons of How I Met Your Mother, or whatever it may be. How is that more productive than what I'm doing, which at least is a social thing? Like anything, if done to an extreme, it's going to affect you. And according to the specifics that are written here, so for example, if you get feedback from your wife, Fream, that it's going to have a negative impact on your marriage, and you go to, you know what? I'm going to play for 7 hours a night and get 2 hours of sleep. Now you're escalating the behavior, and that's when it's problematic. Right. You're able to look at it and say, okay, well, here's how I can still handle everything. Maybe you should scale it back for your health. It's good to sleep. But you have a control over it, and that's really the difference. I think this is written more for you hear these kind of awful stories about competitive game players in Southeast Asia who sat all day in an internet cafe and let their baby starve to death. That's addiction level. What we do is, this is our hobby. There's one line in here in particular that says, to the extent that it takes precedence over other interests. This is my interest. What other interest is it taking precedence over that becomes the test for this disorder?
Right. Feeding your baby, obviously. Come on, Michelle.
Yeah. Where are your babies at, Michelle?
That's an excellent question. But yeah, so I think it's, obviously we joke about it the way we do. I think it can be legitimate, and I think there's actually more concern, again, with those competitive games that are popular in certain regions of the world. I think people are more likely to be addicted to something like Candy Crush, which they will do at work. We have to leave our Xboxes behind, most of us, so we have to go on and do our day. Mm-hmm. There's a validity to it, but the way that we engage with it is mostly joking, and it doesn't really apply to us, I think, for the most part.
What about you, Proulx? Do you share that point of view?
Yeah, my thing is, and of course, this is from an armchair psychologist, somebody who doesn't suffer from any sort of, as far as I'm aware, no sort of mental issues at all. Not at all. That seems kind of, you know what I'm saying? I don't, as far as I'm aware, I don't have any of these sort of addictions. To me, it just, the description that they gave is, I mean, if you removed the word gaming from it, it's just an addiction.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's necessary to distinguish it from other addictions. I mean, you could put gambling addiction, you could put alcohol addiction, you could put drug addiction in front of those words, and they would all be equivalent. Yeah, of course, if you're doing these sorts of things at the expense of other people, of other interests, of other all that sort of language. I and obviously this all exists on a big, broad spectrum, and all of us as gamers, we live somewhere on this spectrum. If you're 100%, gaming all the time, that's a problem. That's a big issue. But if you're 100% whatevering all the time, that's a big problem. It's all about balance. So, I don't know what benefit it I mean, maybe it will be beneficial for the gaming community overall, for people to maybe to self-reflect or get to look at themselves and say, okay, maybe this is too much. I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe that's the goal. I don't know. But to me, it just seems like classifying it in this way is redundant, because people could be aware at this point that it's a problem already, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I think what this does, in my point of view, is that it then adds a level of credibility to researching it and understanding it, and giving people resources to help if they have problems. Because as it stands now, if someone wanted to do a study on video game disorders, then that you don't see that many of them, but there's a lot of studies out there of what the effects of over drinking do. Effects on your liver, effects on your mental stability, effects on driving, effects on all that, gambling addiction, all these things in terms of, there's lots of addiction studies out there. And I think what this kind of can help in the long term is then provide more of a defense against harmful practices that companies are using to take money from you. Much like, like the loot boxes and the gambling aspect of it, because as of now, it's, they're just playing video games. And so what? You got a few money here or whatever. They know the addictive level of this, and they're specifically targeting people who have a predilection to spend money on video games and play a lot of video games and be excited about opening a loot box and seeing what happens. And I don't think the same level of resources are available to those people to get help, to understand that, you guess what? You cannot buy 700 loot boxes in Overwatch. Like, that is too much money, just like if you went to the casino every day and neglected your things. That it helps in the long term of giving people resources so that if there is a problem, they can get help. Whereas now, it's, that guy plays a lot of video games. He's kind of a dork. He's kind of a loser. He should probably go and see a psychiatrist or do something on his own. But there's not many, clinical resources available, or they're more difficult to find. And the growing nature of these publishers who need to make money can continue to exploit with, harmful practices with less recourse against them, aside from internet trolls and just the community at large. I'll lump myself into being a troll at times, but the community backlash for all the horrible things that they're doing. That's right now the only line of defense we have to these harmful practices, and it can be incredibly powerful when you have a huge subset of people saying this is garbage. Like, I will not stand for this atrocity, and then hopefully they back it up by using their wallets and saying, I'm not buying that game, or I'm not paying any money for those loot boxes. Hopefully that those messages can be sent, but it'd be great if we had some clinical research behind us to say not only is what you're doing gross on the front end, but it's also deceitful and preying upon people's weaknesses, and that's not cool either. So maybe that can help further down the line and grow this area. Well, I do think. Oh, go ahead, Michelle.
Yeah, I think another driving force behind this is a Business Insider article, which was pretty good about noting the benefits of gaming as well as some of the detriments. Yep. Noted in there that 63% of all households have someone who identifies as a frequent gamer. And when you take a moment to think about that, that's a very high number. I don't know if there are that many households that have someone who identify as a smoker or as a frequent drinker or whatever else. And I think some of that prompted the need to look into this, because anytime when there's that much of something, just like you're saying, there might be a need for research to figure out where is the line between healthy and not healthy. Because where we may do well with time, I mean, I didn't need to drop all the money I spent on a 4K TV and an Xbox One X, except for the fact that I felt that I needed to be at the front end of this thing, which I don't think is an addiction problem per se. But I don't buy too many games from week to week. But people who feel like they've got to buy the new ID at Xbox games, they have to have every game on their tag. Like, at that point, is that something that's kind of crossing into that barrier? So I think that's an excellent point about the need, opening up the door for research, because now it's recognized as a potential issue.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's so many gamers out there right now, especially for all these budding, YouTubers or Mixer, people who are trying to do streaming as a career and be one of these, lottery winners that gets a following, and that people, what games are people going to gravitate toward? Yeah, it's new release. You want to be playing the new release. You want to either be the best at a popular game or be playing some new stuff that's going to get some traction that people are going to be excited to watch. And so guess what? You want to be on that? Well, then you either have to go out of your way and try and get copies, review copies, or be producing things along that line, or easier, wait till it releases and go buy it. Because then you don't have to do any work in trying to create a legitimate business. You can just say, I'm just going to buy the game, and I'm going to play it, and people are going to watch, and it'll be great. And guess what? With the amount of games that come out every week, or how popular, because if you're not playing the brand new game, yeah, well, the drop off in what people are going to be watching is going to change because you're trying to appeal to a new crowd, a different, ever-changing community that are interested in what's new and hot. Right. And so, and the likelihood of being successful at that, especially now that it's, all sorts of avenues for you to be able to broadcast quickly and easily exist through, the Xbox platform itself, through your PC, through multiple avenues that you can just share everything you're doing at any time. Now the pool is getting so much more diluted, yet all these people look at someone like a PewDiePie, or look at someone like a Dan TDM, or look at whoever, name your popular YouTuber who is making a decent living, or at least enough to survive, and saying, well, that guy's getting money to play video games all day. Why can't I do that? Mm-hmm. And I think that sort of, it's like that Office Space comment where it's like, hey, if you had $1 million, what would you be doing? And of course, $1 million isn't, but if you didn't have to worry about money, what would you do? Because then that's what you should be doing for your career. And it's like, yeah, okay, that's total bullcrap. Because you know what? Yeah, I like my job enough to go show up every day, work hard, get my stuff done, and I'm compensated well for that. If I wanted to go and chase my dream of being in video games in some way, and monetize this podcast and be really a reviewer or games media or whatever, and really try to make this my living, I could not make enough money to compensate for the lifestyle that I've chosen based on my current career, because I'd have to be the top 1% of people who do that. That's not likely. And B, you're not. If everybody went and followed those dreams, who dreams of being a garbage man? We need people who just have to do a job. That's just the way society works.
Right.
So you do your job, get paid for it, and then you go and enjoy your hobby, like you said, Em. And your hobby can be gaming, it can be bowling, it can be whatever. And so that's where we're at. So yeah, I can't make a living like that. But when you're young and impressionable and you see people making money playing video games, you start thinking, well, that's going to be me. I don't need to worry about school because I need to play more video games. I don't need to worry about, finishing, my homework because I'm going to be playing video games. That's how I'm going to make my money. And it's like, boy, I have something to tell you, kid. Yeah, not happening. Just like when you were a young boy and said, you know what, I'm going to play in the major leagues. I can't wait to be a professional ball player. Or, you know what, I got the stuff. I'm going to be in the NFL. Yeah, you know what, of all the kids who are playing high school football and all the professional players, the 3,000 players or whatever the number is in the NFL right now, percentages are not in your favor. So guess what? You're going to have to actually do your work. You're going to have to actually go to school. You're going to have to actually get a real job. Sorry.
I suppose there's another consideration here, which wasn't brought up in these articles, but you've sort of brought up with the sense of this generation growing up. We're all contemporary in age, you and Proulx and myself. I think Pru's a little younger, but contemporary enough that it was similar.
Yeah.
When we were growing up, there was no handheld console. Not until I was 8 or 9. That just wasn't a thing. You couldn't leave your house and bring a video game with you. You might have had a Nintendo or Sega Genesis at home, but 2 people could play. And if you were in a family like mine with 5 children, you often weren't the one up. So you had to go out and do other things. Children growing up now, between being able to play on a cell phone, being able to play on a traditional handheld like a DS, but now a non-traditional handheld like the Switch or a Windows 10 mobile gaming device if they get there sometime, right? Gaming is everywhere. It's very much something that follows them and that they don't have to leave behind. So as much as we are addicted to it, we also completely grew up, in our way, we're addicted to it. Not unhealthily, I think.
Right.
But we grew up in a situation where we had to put it down. So we've known since we were young that we couldn't necessarily come right in the door and just play games all day because it wasn't there. We couldn't take our Game Boys to school with us on the bus in the morning.
Right.
Where now
We brought our Pogs.
Oh boy!
Wow, that was just reaching back. Okay, we're totally contemporary in age. So, but right, so it's different for kids now because except for when they're at some place where it's regimented in such a way that they can't have their games there, so school or if they go to like a religious service or something of that nature, they can access a video game at all times. And when you've been doing that from when you're very young, because you have parents who are gamers and are looking forward to you being gamers because that matters to them.
Yep.
When you're suddenly an adult and it's like, you have to turn off your DS while you're at work because stuff has to get done. Mm-hmm. It might be a whole different element on this that we're not really considering ourselves because that just wasn't our experience.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm running into that with my son right now who, he's got his Switch. He's had his DS. He we give him an allotment of video game time. And now that he's got his Switch, he's very much excited about it. So we've loosened that a little bit. But, my wife comes down to me all the time about make sure you are modeling good behavior. So if I ask you, right, and I typically don't play when the kids are awake or I typically don't play when my wife, is awake, that, but if she says, hey, we got to go somewhere or we got to do something, and I quip with like, hey, let me just finish this match quick, or I'm so close. I'm fighting this boss. I'll be done in a sec. And that is going to cause us to be late to basketball practice or something or whatever. Like, and she'll say, look, you are modeling that behavior for your son. He's seeing that you can stretch your time to finish something at the expense of something else that you've made a prior commitment to. And it's hard for me because it's like, I know games nowadays don't let you really pause. And so if you're in the middle of something, you either drop it and then have to redo it, or you complete what you're doing. And it's that tough balance of saying like, well, I want to encourage you to finish what you start, but I also need to encourage you to uphold your commitments outside of this house and things that you've said you'd be a part of. And when those two are conflicting, then you say, okay, well, which one's got to go? Okay, no, you got to drop the gaming. And I struggle with that myself because I can't necessarily just put something down because I've put a lot of effort into it and I'm very close and I think it's going to happen quickly and maybe it doesn't. Or, I'm in the middle of a match or I have other people, I get constantly from my wife saying like, because I have a standing gaming sessions with everybody right now with, Monday nights, we got Diablo. Wednesday nights, Battleborn. Thursday nights, Plants vs. Zombies. Friday nights, I'm recording podcasts. So that's 4 nights a week that I've got a 10 p.m. commitment, essentially. And, in theory, we will watch TV and she'll go to bed by that time anyway. But if she doesn't have to work the next day or we want to watch the news together or whatever, then all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, now your hobby is imposing on our marriage and, okay, well, what's got to give? And so now I'm feeling bad like, oh, well, man, I'm going to let Saucy and Mattism down and Koosh is going to be so disappointed that I'm not there or I'm there 15 minutes late and stuff. And it's like, why am I, again, I've developed strong friendships with all these people. So it's like, I'm letting down 3 of my friends or I'm letting down my wife or, so now I'm conflicted. And I see those struggles, and it's like, how do I model that behavior for my son and saying, okay, well, now you need to pick what's more important. Is making sure you get to basketball practice on time more important than, completing a chore or something? Like, even if it wasn't gaming related and you had to build some sort of thing for homework. Okay, you got to figure out a way to balance both of these out, and you got to figure out a way to have your life in balance, and that's ultimately what it comes down to. Even in terms of addiction, find a way to get your life into balance. And sometimes it gets out of balance, you got to fix it, and that's going to be the struggle for everybody in how you effectively prioritize your time. And I'll tell you right now, I'm doing a terrible job. Hopefully, I can find some opportunities to shift some things around, get more sleep, get more productive at work, get more video game time in. There's all these things I want to do. Got to shift these things around, but that's the battle we all face. Mm-hmm. So yeah, 2018, I guess that'll be a year of self-improvement.
Improvement.
maybe I can see a psychiatrist now that it's, hopefully it gets classified and I can get insurance to pay for this. And I can talk to my psychiatrist like, listen, I've really got to get my completion percentage up. So how can I convince my wife that this is important?
Or that I have a disability and she just needs to be patient with me.
Right. Right. I always think of like when people, it's, again, this is definitely not the case because I don't need to play video games every day. But, it's one of those addictions that, like, because of my routine, I end up playing video games every day. But it's certainly a far cry from someone who's like a food addiction where, like, you literally need to eat every day or you will die. So, at that level of addiction where, like, you have to be feeding your addiction just to survive, hopefully none of us are at that point with video games where we feel like we need to play video games to survive. Like, again, they're just games, guys. They're not giving you any sort of nourishment. So, we're not to that level, but I'm sure it's tough for some people to put the controller down at times. I think about it all the time.
There's a definite addictive quality, though. Like, I'm into the achievement streak thing, right? So I've got an achievement streak of like 4 years or whatever crazy thing it is. And on one hand, I can let it go at any time. But there have been nights, my rollover time is set for midnight Pacific for whatever reason. I just never fixed it. And I've, crashed because it was a long day at work or whatever at 8 o'clock in the evening. And I've woken up at 2 o'clock and the first thing on my mind is, oh no, my streak. That's a problem. That probably is not, it's definitely not normal behavior.
Right.
But I didn't force myself to get up at 2 a.m. to save the streak either. So that's what this will help determine if it is classified as a disorder is where are these lines? It's just like any psych disorder. There's going to be a spectrum of where it's, look, you're just really into your hobby and it's in your head a little bit versus this is something that needs treatment. And I don't think that anyone that we associate with is in that treatment pool. I hope. Because I don't want to make light of any of it either, just in case this really is an issue for somebody. But there are people, and unfortunately there are stories where someone's gaming habits had led to very detrimental outcomes.
Sure.
So I think the research is really important. So we'll see where they go with it.
Agreed. So I think with that, unless Proulx, do you have anything else to add? I think we can just end the show. We can wrap this thing up and close her out. But was there any final word, any other comments you wanted to make, Proulx?
No. I think we talked a lot about it there. And
yeah,
I mean,
I'm looking forward to the community response too. And I know we've talked about it in Discord quite a bit. Again, in a joking fashion. But if anybody is out there, I talk about it all the time. I struggle with my gaming. Like it at times is a problem, and I need to figure out a way. I mean, this podcast is a way for me to explain my feelings toward it. I have support from a community that helps me stay focused on my hobby and achievements, but I also have a family that also provides feedback and says, no, it's probably too far right now. And I'm looking for a balance. And so by talking about this and getting my video gaming in through community events and things, maintaining the social aspect that I think is super important with our hobby and our gaming, that helps balance out the lack of social activities I do in my, like, quote unquote, real life. Because you people in the community are way better friends than a random person I'm going to meet at some party that I don't care to go to, because we have shared interests. We have long-standing conversations. Like, I value all of my listeners and people that I play games with way more as friends than a casual acquaintance that I see at the gym or where at work, because we're at work together. That doesn't mean that we share a common interest or a hobby or we like the same things. We just happen to be stuck in the same place because our employer both gives us a paycheck. So I value this community so much more because these are my friends. You are all my friends who I game with. And so that's important. Sorry, I cut you off, Proulx.
I was actually just going to say that if, not that we're the best people to talk to, but plenty of people probably feel the same frustrations and struggles that you do. And if there is a conflict there, if there's an issue, then find whatever help you can. Like you just mentioned, that I agree with you. The social aspect of what we do is, God, it's probably 80% of why most of us play these games, or at least participate in the community and all this sort of stuff. It's tremendously important. Even with single player stuff, we're always reaching out to connect with other people who have experienced the same things that we have. And, it's one of the great strengths of gaming and weaknesses as well, because sometimes you cannot find someone. But I just want to, like you said, we joke about this a little bit at this point, but there may be people out there who are really struggling, and I don't have a particular resource to point them to, but please, if there is an issue that you're having, or it's a real struggle for you, or you need to talk to someone, reach out, because obviously with these steps that are being taken now, who knows how far this WHO thing will go, but there are people who are thinking about this in these terms, and it should be reasonable for you to go and find someone that can help you, because like I said, we're a big broad spectrum and a bunch of really good people mixed with some not so great people. But no, I'm teasing. But everybody wants the best. I think not everybody, of course, but most people want the best for everyone else. If you're really struggling with this, please reach out to someone who can help you. Because obviously, if it is something so significant that the World Health Organization is kind of
right
having as a discussion, then there is something there, I think.
Agreed. And with that, I think that's going to do it for our episode, at least this main part of the episode. I promise I will give you a contest roundup, because it's a brand new month, January, brand new year. So we've got a lot of things to talk about. GTSC starting, the completions challenge. Man, there's going to be a great community roundup. I promise I'll get to it, even though I'm recording on New Year's Day. Hopefully my bloodshot eyes can read my screen and all the notes that I took. I'm sure I'll be fine, but I want to thank all of you so much for listening. I want to thank everybody who contributes to our community, helps support this wonderful podcast. All you patrons out there are amazing. You guys have really outdone it. You've made 2017 for us so awesome, and I'm sure 2018 will be as fabulous, if not better. So thank you so much. If you're interested, you can head over to patreon.com/Z2Z and become a patron. We are at the threshold where we're giving away full retail games. So if you happen to win a month, you get your pick of anything that was released, within reason. We're not doing collector's editions of crap, but you're more than welcome to pick out a brand new AAA game, whatever you want. It's great. So there's that. We also have tons and tons of contests going on. Z2Z.com is where our show notes are, but if you're interested in our contests, it's forum.z2z.com, or forums have a running list of all the open contests there. You'll hear about it in the contest roundup. Finally, Twitter for the show, at Z2Z, ZEDTOZED. If you're interested in contacting me for myself here, it's Freamhole, at Freamhole, FREAMWHOLE. That's my gamer tag. That's where you can find me on TrueAchievements.com. Proulx, you wanna give your contact information? Let people know where they can reach you.
Yeah, absolutely. They can find me on True Achievements or Xbox under Proulx. It's spelled nothing like how it sounds. So good luck figuring that out. And on Twitter, you can find me at OneUpDan. That's the number 1, not the word.
Fantastic. And Em, I don't know if you want anyone bothering you or not, but you can say whatever you want to sign off. Anything you want to promote or play or whatever. I'll give you the floor.
Best way to find me if you want to send me anything is over on True Achievements or via Xbox. My gamer tag is Matrarch. It's the word matriarch without the letter I. And thank you very much for having me on the show today. It was a lot of fun recording with you guys.
Oh, it was great. I really enjoy talking to you. You have such a wonderful insight and a very great way of delivering your information in your wealth of knowledge. So I absolutely love having you on the show. It's great.
Yes, thank you.
So with that, we're going to sign off here and move into the rest of our show. Stick around. Review Zed. What the L with the random to-do list. That's not the word. That's not how the thing goes, but you know it's coming.
Good try.
Yeah, and the contest roundup. So with that, we'll catch you guys next week with the main show. And stick around for the rest of this episode. See ya.
Z to Z Podcast presents Review Zed.
All right. Well, thank you for that intro, guys. I'm assuming we got introed. So this week on Review Zed. So, hey, guys, I'm back. Spaz here. Damien, or whatever you all know me as. I don't even know anymore. And actually, almost we should have you intro everything, Warren, since you've been doing it for the past few weeks.
Well, I guess I could do that. I'm Planting 42. I never intro myself. I will this time just because I never do. This week, we played Numantia. It's published and developed by Rico Technology. It was released on October 31st of this year. It is an ID at Xbox game, and my God, no one plays this. There are 25 tracked gamers on TA. Considering what it is a relatively in-depth turn-based strategy game.
Well, so let's qualify. So, as you said, it's an ID Xbox title with 25 tracked gamers, and I think really, the thing we forgot to mention is it carries a $29.99 price point. So, in terms of ID time. So in terms of ID titles, that's pretty steep, and we've seen some other games that have come up that high in price, things like Witness. So I guess before I turn it back to you and that, one would initially say, wow, that's a lot for an ID title. But I think, again, you'll go in a little more detail. I think you get a lot for your money if you really consider what you're getting into this game. So.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. I am definitely just scratching the surface of it. I have yet to complete chapter 3. So there's definitely quite a bit in these campaigns, and looking at the achievements, there are looks like 11 or 12 chapters, depending on how the final achievement pops. Yeah, this is a very in-depth military strategy game. This is apparently based historically, although I don't know anything of the fight between the Romans and the Numantians.
Yeah, so Numantia was an ancient Celtiberian. Well, I don't know. Yeah, this is where my old Roman history goes bad. Settlement, I'm using the wiki, whose remains are located 7 kilometers north of the city of Soria on a hill known as Cerro de la Muela, or whatever, in the municipality of Guerre. This all takes place in, I think, Spain. So Numantia is famous for its role in the Celtiberian War in the year 153 BC. Numantia experienced its first serious conflict with Rome after 20 years. Yeah, so it was like a 20-year war with Rome. So this actually happened. Well, I think, again, like any story play, based on historic events.
Yeah, happened. And then you can kind of rewrite it. The interesting thing of this game, you actually can play either side. You can play as Numantia or as Rome right from the get-go. And you can advance both campaigns simultaneously.
Yeah, so when I first started playing it, I was thinking, wow, this is going to be kind of like Age of Empires, and I'm playing in I was thinking kind of like that turn-based, control armies. Unfortunately, the things that I really liked about Age of Empires, this is not that kind of game. Other than it takes place before you were before your time.
I guess maybe you're attracted to those, to like the what you call it, the resource management aspect of Age of Empires, whereas actually there's none of that I can really tell in here. You've got like a resource and gold, and that's it.
Yeah, I like building up armies and building siege weapons and like, let's slice it. I really found that for me, it's about, can I completely lay havoc? This is not that, build up an Uber army a la StarCraft or anything. This is a very, again, turn-based strategy adventure. It's very strategic. It's very in-depth. It's way over my head.
Yeah, it's kind of cool in the fact that basically what it is it looks like each chapter is basically set apart by one large battle. And then in between the battles, there's like little bits of history, story snippets, things to kind of keep you interested. You learn more about the players on the scene at the time. And there's achievements based on usually two sides of the decisions. You can actually save almost at any point unless you're actually fighting. So basically save whenever you think you're going to be making a choice that may be achievement based, or read the list and kind of know ahead of time. Because there's usually like you make one decision, pop achievement, reload your save, make the other decision, pop, there's the other achievement, and then play on the way you wish.
Yeah.
It is incredibly in depth. You need to like pay attention to keeping your slingers away from everyone else, keeping your ranged in the back and your melee in the front, trying to keep. Oh my God. Yeah. It's definitely something that's going to take some time learning, unless you're already like a master of this kind of thing. I would basically call this like a combination of like XCOM and Banner Saga, given the way it plays. You're granted it's like Banner Saga for like the age of it and for the content, because there's a lot of story to it, whereas XCOM it's got that same turn-based. This is hex-based, whereas XCOM is square. But I mean, the idea still is the same. You need to keep your army safe.
Yeah, I would say this is not a get your feet wet turn-based strategy.
No, not at all.
You need this. This will be the type of game, and I think the investment for the money. If you are into this type of genre, you will probably enjoy this game. However, if you're sitting here going, oh, I might want to, this is like going, I want to understand science a little bit more. How about I try to start understanding quantum physics? This is not something to learn, in my opinion, this type of genre on. This is more, this is your type of game.
Agreed. I will say chapter 1 is like your hand-holding tutorial. They give you a basic idea of your units and how to move them. And if you don't pay attention to that, and like the civilization-ish tutorial, like explains your cities and how to interact with it. If you don't pay attention to all of that, you will be lost.
You can even pay attention to it and still be lost, because even just going through okay, here's my slingers, here's my range, here's how I advance and attack. Okay, I can go and do all of my movements before the next round. Okay, quick, move to the next. Wait, what? I think I was reading everything, and I even was sitting there going, I think I need to play this tutorial twice or 3 times.
Oh, I did. I played it twice. I was kind of skimming it the first time, thinking, oh yeah, I know what I'm doing. It's strategy. And then I get thrown into using everything. I'm like, oh wait, what does this mean? When I highlight it, it doesn't show. Oh man. Okay, hold on. Rewind. Let's do this again.
Yeah, so I think overall, and we were talking, so from an ID title, and this is, I like seeing developers going in and really, I would say they put in a lot. You can tell there was a lot put into this game. This isn't a, quickly rushed out production title, but this is more of that. I'm not quite sure who they were building this for. I mean, I do, in the sense of, obviously, if you're into this genre, you're really going to love this type of game. But is there a lot of demand for this? Like, is this the kind of game that there was a large community outcrying for, and the Xbox going, man, I need a turn-based strategy that I use a controller to like,
to their credit, It plays very well using the controller.
Oh, yeah.
You don't feel like you're getting a port of a keyboard mouse game at all. This does play very well on a controller.
Oh yeah, but I'm just saying the type of people that I would normally think of playing this game,
you're right.
They're normally PC players. I don't really see them going, man, I got the Xbox. What I really needed was, they did a great job. Like, as you said, you can control through it. The camera angle, even though it's kind of fixed on the way it does, it works for how it does in the control, but you're almost sitting here like, I felt like, man, I'm almost like in that, it feels like because it's controller based and the stigma controller based has on these types of games, was it something like, it didn't feel like it was, corners cut to make it work on a controller, but you're sitting here going, would this game be better enjoyed with a keyboard and mouse if it was an option? It controlled fine without it, but again, this genre, it's hard for me to wrap my head around. This is, really good for using control. It kind of reminds me of Halo Wars, of just like that. Why do I play this game with a controller? Like, I just hate.
Well, and there's the difference between this and Halo Wars, whereas this is turn-based, so it doesn't matter if it takes you an extra 3 seconds to select an option, whereas Halo Wars is real-time.
Which I guess maybe that's where Numantia, I think, does that good job, is because they didn't go real-time, because they went turn-based. That might be the differentiator on when controllers can be used in these types of games, is,
Because I'm sure were this a real-time game, I would have been hard-pressed to play it as well as I have, and I'm not going to say I did great, but I don't think I would have done as well were I trying to do it quickly with a controller. I'd be looking for more display options and looking for a little more context, but given what we've got, turn-based works fine. So,
again, I want to give this game a glowing review, but I got to definitely give it it's a very, especially on that price point, even if it wasn't the price point, I don't think the price point's bad for what the game is, but I'm just like,
it's the niche.
Yeah, this is a very niche game. It's very good for that real-time strategy. If every game that you turn-based strategy. If every game you've heard us talk about before sounds way too elementary for you, and you are looking for that real type of more in-depth, challenging, almost the type of games we never talk about, this would almost probably be that title, in my opinion.
Oh, I completely agree.
Yeah, so it's
interestingly enough, the guys that made this game also made Kuronaga's Revenge, Yasai Ninja, and Toro, everyone's favorite bullfighting game.
Good to know. So, again, I think this is definitely, before I, would sign off, I would say everybody that's listening should at least go out, look at the link, get an idea of what's out there. Because, I think it does show that, as much as like we cover a lot of ID stuff, but there's some really good, well put together, solid titles out there, that at least deserve to look at and say, ID is it's a good program, that's put together that really is going to help, some good developers put out some, niche stuff. And that's the kind of stuff I think it should be highlighted at times, that it's not just a bunch of phone port games.
Oh, agreed. And as much as I would say, yes, it's a great game, grab it on sale, I don't know when it's going to go on sale. And it really is worth, I'd say, the $30, considering how much content is here. It's going to take you probably a good 15, 20 hours to make your way through the first campaign, and then to play the other campaign, and then clean up achievements. Yeah, you're looking at it. Probably an easy 40-ish plus hours. The one guy who completed it says 35 to 40, but I would say this is definitely a good investment of your time, considering the cost.
So cool. I think other than that, I think that's about it. Anything else?
No, that pretty much covers it. Definitely give it a shot if it's up your alley. And
all right. Well, until next week or the week after, we'll see you around.
Until next time.
Hey, everybody. Well, I don't have any zombie news to start the new year, but I do have a little community roundup because, like I said, it's the start of the new year. So there's all sorts of new things going on in the Z2Z community and the TrueAchievements.com community. So let's start there. The GTASE, the Great True Achievement Score Challenge for 2018. Signups are still underway, I believe. I don't know when signups close, to be honest, but I know that the contest starts real soon. So if you are an individual and are participating, good luck. If you guys have a team, if there's a Z2Z team and you guys want me to follow you, and I'm not already your friend, or you want me to mention you guys on the show and kind of track your progress through the contest, let me know. You can contact me through TrueAchievements.com or on my Discord, discord.io/Z2Z. You can send me a little private message through there and let me know if you want me to track your guys' teams so that I make sure to mention them on the show. So that's starting up real quick. Now moving over to the Z2Z community. Well, it should be no surprise that the random to-do lists are now up. The new January lists are here. It is also start of a new 4-month competition. So the next 100 achievements, the next 4 months, so through April will be the first trimester of the year, and we'll do a running 4-month tally with that one. Good luck on each individual list. Remember, for each achievement you unlock in the random to-do list, you get an entry into the monthly pool, which you can win some prizes in. So good luck there. And then we got our community challenge. So our community challenge for December, so you still have an opportunity to submit as this show comes out. This will be your last chance, is a right jolly old elf. So any game that contains an elf or elves or whatever, or elfin creatures, go ahead and submit that in our forums, forum.z2z.com. Let us know what it is, send some links so that we can track you down, and every achievement earned in games of that ilk will get you an entry into the prize pool. So yeah, good luck there. January is the start of something new, and what we're looking for here are achievements in games that have spawned at least 2 sequels. I started a running list in the forums that show you what games are possible. The easy ones are like the original Assassin's Creed or BioShock, but some of them, like the subsets, like Assassin's Creed Chronicles China, technically has 2 other Chronicles games, so that one would count. Black Ops, Call of Duty Black Ops in and of itself has Black Ops 2 and Black Ops 3, so Black Ops 1 will count for this one, as well as Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, because there's 2 extra Modern Warfare. So anyway, it's the first game. That's the only one that counts, is the first game, not the other ones that preceded it. So there's some here that will need explaining or questions, like we can use remasters. So as far as the timing goes, I'm allowing Halo Combat Evolved the Anniversary. I'm also allowing Master Chief Collection, even though some of those achievements aren't from Halo 1. I'm allowing all of Master Chief, so anything you earn in that one will count. If you did have a previously completed game that fits this bill, like for instance, I completed Assassin's Creed 1, let us know for that one, because that will get you a bonus 10 entries. Otherwise, it is achievements in those specific games, the start of something new for the Community Challenge. Our gamer tag for the month of January is Saucy Slingo. So you got a nice little mix there of letters, and you still have an opportunity to submit for Miserly Pluto 459. So get those in at the forums there. Also, make sure you get in for the MOCAS for December, Complex Superiority, M. Surin's Overly Convoluted Achievement Spectacular. That is for progressively increasing gamer scores. So post your links. You can see a lot of people already posted there. I believe that is closing very shortly, so make sure you get your entries in for that. We also passed another Patreon. I want to thank everybody who supported us in 2017 and continues to support us in 2018. People are absolutely amazing. We will be doing a new full game prize to our patrons. So if you are a patron that submitted or donated money in December, at the end of December for January 1st, then we'll do that draw probably next show and let you know what you got. Ripon was our last last winner. He is one of our top tier contributors, so thank you so much for that. He also sent out a message in our Discord chat. He's saying, maybe we can start a little game share action. He's got Assassin's Creed Syndicate and Lego Dimensions, the physical copies of those, and would be totally willing to send those to a person most likely in the United States because of, shipping costs would be reasonable. His only stipulation is that when those are done, you send those to somebody else. There was a similar thing over at the Achievement Hounds podcast where they did had a bunch of physical copies of games floating around. So if that's something our community is interested in, let us know in Discord and, where most of the community resides. We can set up a channel. We can, have a more tracking and understand where everything is and what people are willing to send out to others. Help others share the Gamerscore so that you don't have to, hit up Redbox or GameFly or try and wait till they're on sale or whatnot. Anyway, just let me know if you want that. And if back to the Patreon stuff, if I forgot that you are a patron, I think I have everyone up to date, but you're supposed to get your gold name in our Discord. So if you don't have your gold name and you have donated money, let me know. So because I have to do that manually, I'll make sure that you get covered for that. Finally, the other thing I want to mention in terms of competitions, the Fream Completion Challenge. So for 2017, obviously that's over. 2017's done, but you can still post and let me know if you've missed anything. We had a bunch of last-minute posts here at the end of December 31st. I'll run through the whole list. We've got Chin Doctor, Kingsman 2625, Wicked Girl, Spookyhurst, Wakapeel, Tatey, and some of the new ones, Iron Fist of Snuff, Mark B, and Tropan. Those guys all finished the completions challenge, the 30 completions for 2017. Congratulations. And if you're curious what that is, well, there's a 2018 list out there. It is up, ready to go on the forums. There's been a lot of discussion about the end of the world achievement, what counts there. So we'd likely have to have some discussions. Good luck finding something with that. There's some others that people are struggling to try and find a home for. So, you got 12 months to do it. So good luck on that. Take a look in our forums if you're curious about what the details are. Finally, the last thing I want to mention, I've said it a bunch of times already, Discord, that's the place to be, discord.io/z2z. We do have a few boosting groups ongoing right now if you're interested in being a part of those. The Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare on the 360 is coming to an end soon. We play Thursday nights, 10 p.m. Central. That is, we're super close. I've only got 5 achievements left there. Most of it is special ops stuff, but I do have to kill a bunch of plants. So we're wrapping up that within, certainly be done by January, end of January we should be done. And then we'll move on to the Xbox One version of Garden Warfare. There was already a crew that took care of it, but there'll be another group starting up here on Thursdays when we finish the 360. So there's that. Halo Master Chief Collection boosting is starting, when this comes out, I guess it started yesterday. And so if you're interested, that's going to be a while. I'm not sure what they're doing, if they're doing the campaign first or doing a bunch of multiplayer stuff, but that should take some time. So if you're interested in boosting some Halo Master Chief Collection, again, those all count toward the community challenge for the month, so it might be worth your time. That's Tuesday nights. So you can hook up with people in the Discord chat to find out who to meet up with, how to party up, all that fun stuff. And then we got Battleborn on Wednesday nights, so that'll be tonight, as if you listen to this day of recording. Otherwise, Wednesdays, 10 p.m. Central, we play for a couple of hours, little Battleborn boosting, set up some those private matches where we can control things a little bit better and unlock the lore challenges. That's the key there. The one that's not necessarily boosting, but I do have a new PUBG channel for the Z2Z community if you're interested in partying up and going for some chicken dinners. That is available to you. I know a lot of our community members, despite the game not having achievements, still really like the game because it's fun. It's great. So, if you're one of those people who listen and don't necessarily care about achievements or just love an awesome game, PUBG, the PUBG channel is the place to be. Of course, that will get super popular once achievements are introduced at some point. I don't know when we're going to get the full release, but it's bound to come. So other than that, I think that does it for my community events and things. Keep an eye on trueachievements.com for some upcoming events here in the calendar year of 2018. I know we've got Planting and I have a lot of fun stuff planned. Hopefully we can execute on them. And then the Z to Z, we've got monthly community events. Chances for prizes all the time because of our awesome Patreon members who help provide the funds to get the prizes out to the community, as well as, sure, they win some stuff too. But there it is. That does it for this. Happy New Year, everybody. We're so glad you're part of our community. We cannot wait to game with you in 2018. If you want to game with me, you can come find me, Freamhole, everywhere, FREAMWHOLE. Just hit me up on True Achievements. Hit me up on Xbox, Discord. I'm always on Discord, so that's the place to be. Other than that, I think that does it for the show. We may have a couple of bits here at the end that you should stick around and listen to. Otherwise, we'll catch you next week. Have a good one.
Hello, everybody, and Happy New Year. This is sure to be our best segment of 2018. And welcome to What the L with the RTDL. I am Big L.
And I'm Elroy. And I'd like to welcome everybody to a wonderful new year. Our contract got picked up for the second year, so thanks to all the loyal listeners who put the pressure on the suits at Z2Z headquarters.
Hard to believe we got renewed. Then again, we were mentioned in last week's year-long wrap-up show on the best things about Z2Z in 2017.
Yeah, I think I do remember that. Wasn't it something like the second thing mentioned on that list?
Yes, that sounds about right. Maybe around the 1 hour and 30-minute mark of the program.
And 15 seconds, but who is counting? So, let's kick off year 2 of What the L and start with a new segment in a segment called New Year's Resolutions.
Ah, I see what you did there. You can go first.
All right. Well, I assume that this is covered at great lengths in the segment before us, the actual, show. So we'll just kind of go rapid fire style here. So I imagine that the gamer scores could be divided up into quantitative measures such as Gamerscore, TA score, completion percentage, and things like that. So let's just rapid fire it here. Okay. So Gamerscore, you got a goal there?
Well, I got my I started last year at 230,000 and I made it to 275,000 just in the nick of time. So I'm currently at 278, so I don't know, I'll go for maybe 325,000.
Oh,
that's
wow.
Crazy. Wow.
All right. Well, for me last year, I was at around 110,000 or something like that. And
aw, cute.
I know. I was trying so hard. And so my goal was, I think, 200,000. I haven't busted out the resolutions yet today, but I thought, man, 200,000, that'd be amazing.
How many Neo Geo games is that?
Yeah, I'd break it down, about 200 Neo Geos. And yeah, and so I ended up with, I'm sitting at about 325,000 right now or somewhere around there. And so my goal for the next year, and the Gamerscore is the one that I care about. I don't really care about the other ones, but Gamerscore is the one I care about. So this is the one that I thought the most about. And I'm going to try to get an even $500,000. So, well, or more. I'll take more than that. It doesn't have to be even, but 500,000 is my goal. And so that means about 420 points per day to attain such score. So hopefully, I don't know. It's a lofty goal, but we'll see what happens. All right. So TA score. You got a goal there?
You're putting me on the spot again. I'm currently at 524,000. We'll shoot for 600,000. Sounds good to me. Round numbers are fun.
I have no idea what my TA score is, and I really don't have a goal because I don't ever look at it. I'm a Gamerscore guy.
All right,
How
I'll
about
just
TA?
take over then. I'll just take over, okay? Let's cut to the chase.
All right.
My completion percentage, something that I actually did well with. I started at 60 and I'm currently at 66.7%. So we'll just shoot for an even 70. And there was one gamer goal that I failed last year, and I had 222 completions at the beginning of the year, and I was shooting for 275, but I only had 25 completions this year, so I only have 247. Do you want to know why? Random to-do list. I believe Fream said it best when he said the random to-do list is not conducive to completing games. Because as soon as you get the achievement you need, you put it down and go right on to the next game. So my resolution for this year is to complete some games from my random to-do list, even if it means sacrificing some other achievements on my to-do list. Need to get them off my tag. What about you, Elroy?
Well, completions, I don't know. They're all right. I don't really care much about them or completion percentage. I try to keep it high, but I don't know what it is or have any goal there. And then the TA ratio stuff, I know it's really low, so that ship sailed a long time ago, so I don't think there's anything I can do about that. But we did reach out to the community, ask them a few resolutions that they had. Kronos did write back and say that he liked Fream's goal last year, which was just to not get eliminated in the sense of don't take the walk of shame with 0 completions on the RTDL list or 0 pops, I guess it is, so that you don't get dropped from the competition. So I guess he's going to try to, set the bar really high with 12 pops on the RTDL this year. And Weasel Pizza, he said that he wanted to compete against the RTDL, and then threw down a pretty thick-looking asterisk and said, and by compete he means not against the individuals with 1,000 pool sizes, which we will get to later in this program.
Okay. Anything else?
I think we're good there.
All right.
Maybe we'll keep doing this segment until we don't.
I hope everyone still likes it. Anyway, how about we take a look at the final global standings for the previous quarter?
Wait, El. I think I know what's coming here. I did take a peek myself.
So anyway, do you know who finished first place?
I think it was...
It was me!
Oh, yeah! Oh, yeah.
I don't mean to toot my own horn, but... I just tooted. I'm done tooting.
Oh, well, let's see. The rest of the podium looks like I'm a little disappointed. Big Kahuna, he knocked me down to 3rd in the global standings. And yeah, I wouldn't have minded so much, except for it hurt a little bit more given that he used 1 less month / 25 less achievements to do the job. Thus, he was in 3 months' time, he surpassed me using the full 4 months. So, anyhow, I finished 3rd, and Kahuna took 2nd. But rounding out the top 10 were Wanda's husband, NBA Kirkland, at 4th place, Urban Spaceman.
Thanks, man.
At 5th, B. Smitty, at 6th, Cowboy Killer 360
Ooh.
at 7th, Rocker Dude at 8th, Crunch Flake at 9th, and Enigma Gamer 77 at the 10th spot.
Wow. Were there 76 other Enigma gamers, do you think?
One can only suspect.
Oh. For our honorable mention, Skeptical Mario clocked in at the 11th spot, but earns the mention since he topped the 10,000 mark total points for the quarter.
Well, had he not gotten the 10,000, would we not have mentioned him? For example, Crunchy Goblin, Matrarch, and Kingsman 2,625 all got close to 10,000, but did not. So, we shouldn't mention them, should we?
But they were over 9,000.
Wait. It was over 9,000? Yeah!
Ooh. That was a lot of crunch in the top 10. I wonder if goblins or flakes are crunchier.
That is an excellent question. According to the interwebs that are full of cats, it would probably be Crunch Goblin. There is a Crunch-O-meter, apparently, and it has Biscotti, Captain Crunch, and Kettle Chips at the 3 spot on a 9-point scale, with 9 being the most crunchy. I can only assume that if Crunch Flake is anything like Captain Crunch, then he would be slotted in the lower third of the list, and thus a Crunch Goblin would be closer to that of, I don't know, Peppermints, which appear on the list with a 9. So, I don't know. I wonder how crunchy some other community members are. Like, is a Weasel Pizza crunchy? What about a...
Elroy?
Yeah.
Let's keep it moving, please. Anyhow, don't be too bummed out, Elroy. Even though you suffered a devastating loss in the final month to Kahuna and dropped to 3rd place in points, there's another way you can look at it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's a Total Chivos tab that shows who won based on number of pops.
Oh, that sounds interesting. Let me take a look. Oh, I think I like this tab.
Uh-oh.
All right, well, I see that the 89 was the score to beat. It surpassed the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and everybody else by leaps and bounds. Probably because I dealt in volume with all my little terrible games and their terrible little 1.0 ratios, and they add up over time, and my little army of crap achievements have surpassed those few of everyone else, that except for Kahuna and but for the total spot. But anyway, I'll take this list. I enjoy it, and thank you. I accept my prize, whatever it is.
All right. Well, rounding out the top 10 is it's pretty much the same people.
By pretty much we mean...
Yep. It's the exact same people it always is.
Well, all right. One thing I think is worth mentioning is just how insane the RTDL has gotten in the last few months, especially this month.
I imagine you're going to bore us to death with some numbers to prove this point, Elroy?
Yeah, maybe. If only... hang on, let me see. I might have some numbers for us. In October, there were 408 Chivos popped by the community for 81,503 points.
Mm-hmm.
In November, there were 467 Chivos popped for 93,610 points.
Uh-huh.
But in December, there were 530 Chivos popped for 105,546 points.
All right. Great job, everybody. That's quite the increase. Congrats to everyone who participated. Hopefully you had at least a third of the fun that we have had doing the RTDL. Let's change gears and focus on this new month, new quarter, new year.
Well, much like the Tominator 177 once said, so could be said of the RTDL. I'll be back.
That isn't what they call him. You got the wrong guy.
Wait, it's not the Tominator? Wait, what manner of man is he that can summon up fire without flint or tinder?
There are those who call him... Tom?
I guess that is better than the bombshell dropped on the community by What the Fug, who said, wait, your name isn't Elroy? And then piled on by Miserly Pluto, who is currently blackmailing me about, being a fraud Elroy in the house, and Miserly Pluto plans to tell everyone less Miserly Pluto gets more mentions on What the Miserly Pluto, or L. For those keeping score at home, my name is not actually Elroy, nor is it Miserly Pluto. But I think we can all agree that teachers are underpaid and that we all need to get behind legislation to fix that. Support the troops.
Whoa. Your name's not Elroy? Oh, shoot. I feel betrayed. But I'm glad we could clear that up. So what else do you have for this week, Elroy?
Well, the standings have been reset. It's the time of year that Kahuna and Supa Bui are tied in the standings, but soon time will put a chasm between them. Despite the fresh start, there's been a lot of movement on the list, with over 70-something pops already in less than 24 hours. Fast starts are being had by current leader Spanx and Proulx, who have already reached well over 1,200 points, followed by Rocker Dude, who is continuing his full winning combo ways with 6 pops already. The rest of the top 5 include Kingsman, 2-6, 2-5, Urban Spaceman,
Thanks, man.
and Tony Coconuts.
Where'd you get the Tony Coconuts?
I found him.
Found him in the RTDL? Tony Coconuts is tropical.
What do you mean?
Well, the RTDL is a temperate zone.
Well, the swallow may fly south with the sun, or the house freemhole or the plumber may seek warmer climes in the winter, yet these are not strangers to our land.
Are you suggesting Tony Coconuts migrate?
Not at all. He could be carried.
What? A swallow carrying Tony Coconuts?
It could grip him by the head.
It's not a question of where he grips it. It's a simple question of weight ratios. A 5-ounce bird could not carry a 175-pound Tony Coconuts.
Well, it doesn't matter. Regardless, the top 5 of the current quarter are all doing quite well already, and with all these new names I mentioned, like Tony Coconuts, we could be in for a record-breaking month.
Listen, in order to maintain airspeed velocity, a swallow needs to beat its wings 43 times every second, right?
Please.
Am I right?
I'm not interested. I am interested, however, in a recent topic of the RTDO, which is the pool size of all the participants. But to answer your question, he could be carried by an African swallow.
Yes, an African swallow maybe, but not a European swallow. That's my point.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. Thus, many argued over the validity of many of our winners from last month who benefited greatly from a heavily curated list and who came in just barely above the minimum needed to be eligible for the RTDL contest.
But then, of course, African swallows are not migratory, so they couldn't bring Tony Coconuts back anyway.
With pool sizes fresh on the mind of many and given the month just started, so what else are we supposed to talk about? 6 individuals have crossed the threshold of 20,000 Chivos possible in their pool. With that said, I give you the comparatively brief RTDL update. Pool Party Edition. In 6th place is Christum DS with a pool that holds over 22,000 gallons. Or if you convert it to liters, it's more. Merca. Last quarter, Christum had 13 pops total, or if you convert it to, well, just about anything, it's really not much. So, yeah. In 5th place, with 2,000 more gallons, is Reset 42. Coincidentally, though, he has a game that appears on his list twice. Some game of L.A. Noir?
Wait, L.A. Noir? Was that released for the Xbox One?
I guess so. It's quite the blind spot for ZZ. You would think they would have mentioned it. Yep. In 4th place, with 26,000, is Planting 42. Given his performance last quarter of popping a mere 4 Chivos, or 1 per month, I shall give this big pool having the same amount of time he put. In 3rd place is a new name this quarter.
Frank?
Nope.
Jeremiah?
Nope.
Tyrone?
No, it's R56 Cooper S11. With over 26,000 in his pool. Once you get to the top 2 of the pool, it gets a little deeper. These are the pools that might need a lifeguard. And, that string of buoys.
Ooh, super buoy?
No, just regular ones. But a pool that has those dividing up the deep end. This is the deep end. In 2nd place with a pool of over 50,000 is the mightiest of mangoes himself. However, in 1st place, we are talking a pool with slides, diving boards, attached hot tubs, and the whole shebang. With over 117,000 gallons, the Tominator Tommy easily has the top spot. This is contrasted with those whose pools are, they're non-existent. These are the people that soak in their own filth in a bathtub. These proud individuals are scared of larger pools and instead retreat to where it's safe and where they have their rubber ducky.
What, the ducky?
These are the bottom pool goers. 8 individuals with under 1,500 possible achievements, who each one of their possible achievements has approximately a 1.6 chance of appearing on their list. They are, in descending order, Miserly Pluto.
Shame.
Rocker Dude.
Shame.
Cowboy Killer.
Who?
Urban Spaceman.
No thanks, man.
Crunch Flake.
Nom, nom, nom.
Saucy Slingo.
Shamey, shame go.
Min Pin.
All right, now you're just making these names up.
And Kingsman.
I don't want to talk about them no more. Those empty-headed animal food trail wipers. I fart in your general direction. Your mothers were hamsters and your father smelt of elderberries.
Is there anything else you want to say about them? I mean, some of them literally have 1,004 Chivos in their bathtub.
No. Now they shall go away, or I shall taunt them a second time.
And this has been your RTDL update, Pool Party Edition.
Do we have any more time for another segment in a segment?
Ooh, I think so, but unfortunately there's no time for an L of the Week since we kind of gone long. But we did get an excellent question this week that comes from us, not from Miserly Pluto, but rather from Rocker Dude, who directs it towards L.
Oh, Rocker sent in a question.
Rocker Dude.
Well, I usually read these questions in the voice of the person who sent it, but I think I've been in party with Rocker many times, but this guy never talks, so I'll give my best guess. Hey, Els. Oh, Elroy. Oh, my God, look at Big L's streak. It is so big. Certainly one of the biggest streaks I have ever seen on my TA friend feed. El, you seem to pride yourself in your streak size. I'd make my streak known if it was even half the size of yours. Number 22 on the TA leaderboard, in fact, at this time. Your current streak started on Christmas Day in 2012 with, what do you know, a wrestling game. What made you start this endeavor? Have you ever had any close calls with losing your streak? Do you have streak savers hanging around? So many questions about your streak. Anyway, streak on, brother. Well, thank you for the question, Rocker. I have no idea what this has to do with the RTDL, but I appreciate the question nonetheless. Believe it or not, my streak actually went up about 200 days before Christmas 2012, and I used a website called 360 Voice, RIP in peace, and when I got the achievement, I guess Christmas Eve 2012, it was in Wordament on the iPhone, and on the 360 Voice it counted as online, but on TA it didn't. However, TA didn't even track streaks back then, so there's no way I would have known that it didn't count. With that said, I didn't even realize that I had started over with a wrestling game, so that's nice of you to notice. I didn't know that I was number 22 on the leaderboard either. That's pretty cool. Have I ever had any close calls with losing my streak? Not really. One thing that 360 Voice did was give me until 3 a.m. to get my streak, so not midnight, so I had plenty of extra time. So there's a feature on TA that I could do the same thing. Do I have any streak savers hanging around? Yes, I do. Let's see. My son, my wife, Michelle. Oh, yes. Games like Disney Fairies with 95 easy achievements are good streak savers. Well, thank you for the question. And actually, I did have one more secret thing that I do to keep my streak alive, and that is